Chapter 1793. The Yin-Yang Demon King imagined himself recovering his cultivation and killing Ling Xiao, then seeking revenge on Ling Xiao and the Moon Maiden. He couldn't help but laugh, but at that moment he felt a light pat on his shoulder. This slap gave him a fright, because he hadn't sensed the person at all. This was simply a matter of life and death. He tried to shake off the person's hand, but found that the hand was like a heavy mountain pressing down on him, making him unable to move. This made him even more terrified. "Who are you? Do we have a grudge?" Cold sweat poured down the Yin-Yang Demon King's forehead. At that moment, the awakening lion beast also pounced over. Perhaps the awakening lion beast thought that this was the best opportunity to kill him. Boom! However, the awakening lion beast's dream didn't come true. The moment it pounced over, it was killed by Ling Xiao, who was standing behind the Yin-Yang Demon King. Ling Xiao also needed the awakening lion beast's beast core, not to mention that this demonic beast didn't have good eyesight. He casually grabbed the awakening lion beast's beast core and stuffed it into his mouth. After swallowing the awakening lion beast core, his cultivation recovered a little. Wonderful! With this thing, I should be able to fully recover my cultivation today, and I should be able to rush back to Sky Sea City tomorrow. Ling Xiao was excited. It seemed that coming to the Demon Mountain Forest today was the right choice. Not only did he meet his enemy, the Yin-Yang Demon King, but he also obtained the awakening lion beast's beast core. And there seemed to be more than one beast core. There were many more in the Yin-Yang Demon King's storage ring. This couldn't escape his Tai Chi eye. Yin-Yang Demon King, do you still recognize me? Ling Xiao turned the Yin-Yang Demon King's body around to face him. He could kill the Yin-Yang Demon King directly, but that would be too boring. He had to let the other party know who killed him. You. The moment the Yin-Yang Demon King turned around, all of his fantasies disappeared. Ling Xiao. The one controlling him was actually Ling Xiao. Did he still want to live? He frantically circulated the yin-yang energy in his body and attacked Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao didn't resist at all. Yesterday, Prince Charming hit him. Although he was slightly injured, it also promoted the flow of internal force in his cells. This was a good thing. Therefore, he wished to be beaten. The Yin-Yang Demon King's attack landed on Ling Xiao's body, causing blood to flow from the corner of Ling Xiao's mouth. However, his face was brimming with a smug smile. A 9th-level Yin-Yang realm cultivator was recovering much faster than him, sitting there like a fool. If he had known that he could recover his cultivation by taking a beating, he would have done so long ago. Thank you, but you still have to die. In the past, Ling Xiao did not have the ability to kill the Yin-Yang Demon King, so he did not do so. Now that he had the ability, he naturally wouldn't miss it. With a thought, the terrifying Blood Soul Dragon Talisman floated above his head. Blazing hellfire spewed out, causing the Yin-Yang Demon King to tremble. Don't worry, I don't care about your body. However, I will refine your soul into a martial soul and make it a part of my 9 demons' divine art. Ling Xiao revealed a sinister smile. He exerted force in his hand, and a terrifying sword aura pierced through the Yin-Yang Demon King's body, instantly turning this former powerhouse into a pile of mud. Then he threw it into the Blood Soul Dragon Talisman. Of course, before that, he had already snatched the Yin-Yang Demon King's storage ring. Looking around, Ling Xiao confirmed that there was no one around. He did not go anywhere else and sat down cross-legged. He took out all the lion cores in the Yin-Yang Demon King's storage ring and began eating them one by one. As he ate the cores, he used the special cultivation method in his memory to continuously recover his cultivation. The Yin-Yang Demon King had worked hard for a long time. There were more than 100 beast cores in the storage ring. Unfortunately, it all went to someone else. It was Ling Xiao's turn. 2 hours passed. For hours had passed. When the 6th hour began, Ling Xiao finally opened his eyes. Not only had his cultivation recovered to its peak, but it had also broken through and reached the peak of the 11th level of the Yin-Yang realm. Not only that, but the 9 demons' divine art had also been effectively replenished. The Plague Demon King, the Evil Beast Demon King, the Lightning Demon King, and now the Yin-Yang Demon King. There were now 4 Demon Kings. After obtaining the Yin-Yang Demon King's ability, Ling Xiao's chances of survival had greatly increased. The Yin-Yang Demon King's ability allowed him to change his appearance at will, which was why he could live longer. Unless there was someone like Ling Xiao who had the Tai Chi eye, it would be difficult to see through it. After recovering his cultivation, Ling Xiao could not wait to return to Sky Sea City. After calculating the time, the final selection should be tomorrow. If he did not return tomorrow, it was very likely that he would miss the white tiger meat. He had painstakingly cultivated so that he could obtain a satisfactory result in the white tiger meat. Then he would obtain the generous rewards and continue to become stronger. To him, there was no limit to martial arts. As long as he could become stronger, he was willing to risk his life. Originally, he could leave for Sky Sea City directly from here. However, he had promised to bring Hongyu along. He could not go back on his word, so he had to go back and say goodbye. Moreover, this small clan had saved his life. It would be inappropriate for him to leave just like that. He stood up and was about to return to Hongyu's home when he suddenly sensed a familiar aura from dozens of kilometers away. The aura was released on purpose so that he could sense it. Cold plum. Ling Xiao frowned and then shook his head with a bitter smile. It seemed that those people had already come out of seclusion. However, they did not see him and began to search everywhere. He followed the aura and searched for it. In a valley, he saw Cold Plum and 2 heavenly demon cult martial artist corpses. Currently, Cold Plum's cultivation had reached the early stage of Yin-Yang realm 10th level. The 2 heavenly demon cult martial artists that she had killed were both at the 11th level Yin-Yang realm. From the looks of it, Lung Mei was really trying her best to cultivate in order to help him. Master! Cold Plum almost cried when she saw Ling Xiao. All right, girl. I'm fine. Where are the others? Ling Xiao asked. They split up to look for you. Everyone's cultivation had a breakthrough. It's all thanks to the magic crystal liquid that you gave us. Cold Plum answered. Find a way to find them and tell them that they can go back and prepare for the final selection. I'll go to the selection site later. Ling Xiao said. No, Master. I want to go with you. Listen to me. I'm just going back to thank the person who saved my life. If you go, they'll think that you're looking for trouble. As you can see, I'm very healthy now and my cultivation is very strong. It won't be easy for anyone to kill me. Ling Xiao patted Cold Plum's head and smiled. All right. Cold Plum was unwilling to disobey Ling Xiao's order. Moreover, she did not have to worry when she saw that Ling Xiao was fine. Chapter 1794. Town Hongyu's family. The news that Ling Xiao was leaving soon spread throughout the small family. He was not a slave or servant of the family. Logically speaking, he could leave and no one would stop him. However, the problem was that not only did he have to leave, but he also had to go to Heaven Sea City with Hongyu. This made the martial artists in the small family unhappy. What did Ling do to deserve this? Could he protect Miss Hongyu? Stop arguing. Ling, leave. We don't owe each other anything. However, if you can't protect Hongyu, don't boast. Qin, who stood out. He was a powerhouse in the family who was second only to the clan leader. He was at the 12th level of Yin-Yang realm. He was naturally duty-bound to protect Hongyu. Uncle Qin, who? I promised Hongyu that I would bring her to Heaven Sea City. Ling Xiao said with a frown. To be honest, he was indebted to Qin Hu. He was unwilling to fight Qin Hu. Do you have the ability? Qin Hu sighed. I know you're close to Hongyu, but the journey will be dangerous. With your ability, you can't protect her. I can, Ling Xiao said. All right, if you can take 3 punches from me, I'll agree to let you take Hongyu. Qin, who had been with Ling Xiao for more than 10 days, He knew how stubborn Ling Xiao was. He would not be able to persuade him otherwise. Since that was the case, he would beat him until he gave up. Really? Ling Xiao was elated. It would be easy for him to take 3 punches from Qin Hu. Uncle Hu's words don't count? Qin Hu said with his eyes wide open. Please make your move, Uncle Hu. Ling Xiao looked at Qin Hu and cupped his fists. Ling, don't be silly. Uncle Hu is a 12th level Yin-Yang realm powerhouse. I can beat you until your parents can't recognize you. That's right, Ling. It's not worth it. With your ability, don't be beaten to death. It'll be too late for regrets. Hurry up and leave. If you're lucky, you might be able to meet Miss Hongyue in Sky Sea City. Most of the people in this small family were very simple. In addition, Ling Xiao was very hardworking. They naturally didn't want Ling Xiao to die like this. Thank you for your concern. Actually, I am very strong. Ling Xiao smiled and then got into a stance to receive the attack. Qin, who originally only wanted to scare Ling Xiao, but who knew that this idiot would actually agree to take the hit. He sighed helplessly. He thought to himself, I'll just use 30% of my strength as long as I don't kill him. Thinking of this, he directly punched out. Terrifying energy shot out in all directions, and there were bursts of sonic booms in the air. Boom! The punch landed solidly on Ling Xiao's chest. Ling Xiao didn't dodge or block. He just took the hit. It's fine, let's do it again, Ling Xiao said as he patted his firm muscles. You have some skills, kid, but that was only 30% of my strength. I'm going to use 70% of my strength now. If you're afraid, just give up. Qin, who was stunned for a moment. I'm not afraid. All right, then, I'll take it. Another punch was thrown out. It was like a ferocious tiger coming out of the mountains. A terrifying tiger's roar exploded in the air. Many people near Qin who were so scared that they hid far away. However, Ling Xiao only took 3 steps back after being hit by this punch. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. The reason for this was because he was only using his body to take the hit. Otherwise, the rebound would have injured Qin Hu. However, this was only a minor injury. It was practically insignificant. 100% strength, ferocious tiger roaring sky fist. Qin Hu finally saw through Ling Xiao's abnormality. He used 100% of his strength for this last punch. He transformed into a ferocious tiger and used all the bloodline power in his body to attack Ling Xiao's chest. Bang! Ling Xiao was directly sent flying. He crashed into a wall dozens of meters away before slowly coming to a stop. Uft! That's powerful. Ling Xiao spat out a mouthful of blood and laughed. Uncle Hu, I took 3 of your punches. Is that enough? He looked serious, but it was actually just a minor internal injury. With Qin Hu's strength, it was impossible for him to seriously injure him. Of course, Qin Hu did not use his strongest move. After all, he did not want to kill Ling Xiao. You bastard! Qin Hu was stunned for a moment. In the end, he shook his head and smiled bitterly. Forget it. If you want to take Hongyue away, then take her away. I won't stop you. However, if she's even slightly injured, I'll come after you. Thank you, Uncle Hu. Ling Xiao hurriedly cupped his hands and thanked him. Why are you thanking me? That's your ability. Qin Hu waved his hand and said, I'll go pack your luggage now. Wait a moment. Ah Ling, are you really okay? Ah Ling, are your injuries completely healed? Have you recovered your strength? After Qin Hu left, the family members all started asking questions at once. They were all very excited. They originally thought that they had just saved an insignificant, good-for-nothing brat. In the end, in just over 10 days, he had actually become an expert. In their opinion, someone who could take 3 of Qin Hu's punches and be completely fine was a top-notch expert. In a small family, such an expert did not often appear. After chatting with everyone for a while, Qin Hu brought their luggage and an iron-armored beast. The iron-armored beast was a very common means of transportation. It was like an enlarged version of a snail, but its speed was much faster than a snail's. The hard shell on its back was usually modified into a carriage to hold people or store goods. Its defense was very strong. Hence, most families with a little money would get such an iron-armored beast as a means of transportation. Ling Xiao originally did not need this, but to avoid trouble he did not refuse. When they reached a place where there was no one around, he put the iron-armored beast away. "Big brother, are we not going to use that big guy?" Hong Yue asked, puzzled. "Come, Hong Yue, sit on Big Brother's shoulder. You have to hold on tight later. Big Brother is going to fly." Ling Xiao smiled slightly, and a pair of wings of light unfolded behind his back. "Wow, what beautiful wings! Big Brother, you're so awesome." Hong Yue was originally very petite and cute. Sitting on Ling Xiao's shoulder was no problem at all. Ling Xiao flapped his wings and soared into the sky, speeding in the direction of Heavenly Sea City. On the way, he used the Yin-Yang Demon King's face-changing technique to change his face completely into another person's. This was not just a change of face. Even his aura had completely changed. Even those wings of light had turned grayish-white and were not quite the same as before. The reason why he did this was not to show off, but to avoid unnecessary trouble. The incident of him being surrounded and killed by the 73 martial artists of the Heavenly Demon Cult was still vivid in his mind. He believed that the Heavenly Demon Cult would not let him off so easily. Choosing to change his face would only bring him benefits and no harm. Chapter 1795. Ling Xiao wanted to temporarily change his face to hide his identity and avoid the open and covert attacks of powerful enemies. As for how long he could hide his true identity, he would hide it for as long as he could. Giving him a buffer time would allow his cultivation to continue rising and allow him to avoid many dangers. "Big brother, I don't like your face. It's too ordinary without any distinguishing features." Everyone loved beauty, and little Hong Yue was no exception. His new face was a standard, ordinary face. It was neither ugly nor handsome, and he would never be noticed in a crowd. His aura was equally ordinary and without any distinguishing features. This made it easier to hide. It doesn't matter if it's ordinary. If you didn't see Big Brother's face change with your own eyes, would you have been able to tell it was me? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. "I couldn't tell. Not only has your face changed, but your voice, figure, and aura have also changed. You've become a completely different person. If your martial arts had changed as well, no one would have been able to recognize you," Hong Yue seriously replied. "Then that's fine. You have the Crimson Moon Eye. Although it can't compare to my Taiji eye, it can still see through many things. If you can't see through my face change, that means I've been very successful." Ling Xiao finally relaxed. He was confident that the experts of the Heavenly Demon Cult, the Water God Hall, and even the Imperial family would be waiting for him on his way to Sky Sea City. He did not want to waste his strength on these meaningless battles. He had more important things to do. The final selection for the White Tiger meet. To put it bluntly, the final selection was a reshuffling of the cards. Apart from the 4 prodigies of Sky Sea City, all the other candidates had been made a fool of. But no one dared to question the Sky Sea Empire's methods because the Imperial family was simply too powerful. In Sky Sea City, adjacent to the Imperial Palace, was a massive arena. Normally, this was where martial artists competed in martial arts. Not only could they obtain rewards, they could also exchange pointers. But today, the atmosphere here was somewhat different. On the stands around the arena, a large number of spectators had gathered. Many of them were young people, and those who stood in the arena and prepared to participate in the battle were a group of young genius ancient martial art practitioners. The oldest among them was no more than 30 years old. These people were the young geniuses of the Sky Sea Empire and its subordinate countries. They had gathered here to participate in the White Tiger Meets selection competition. In addition to the 4 heroes of the Tianhai continent, there would be 11 other lucky people heading to the White Tiger continent's neutral lands, the land of myriad thunder, to participate in the White Tiger meet. After so many days of constant discussion and various changes, at the White Tiger Storm meet, the 4 great empires would each send 10 participants, while the Righteous One School would send 15 participants. However, the Dragon Phoenix continent, which was specially invited to participate in the White Tiger Storm meet, would also have 5 spots. This was the decision of the 4 great empires and the Genie School. But when the decision reached the Tianhai Empire, it seemed to have changed. The Tianhai Empire's decision was, the Tianhai Empire and the Dragon Phoenix continent will send out a total of 15 martial artists to participate in the White Tiger meet, and the Tianhai 4 heroes will take up 4 of the spots. The reason for this was actually very simple. In the eyes of the Tianhai Empire's imperial family, perhaps only 1 or 2 martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent would be able to emerge victorious. It would be too wasteful to directly give 5 spots. It would be better to let the Tianhai Empire's outstanding martial artists participate in the competition. This was originally a violation of the rules. However, the other 3 great empires and the Genie School maintained their silence. After all, no matter what, the former Divine Phoenix Empire was still a vassal of the Tianhai Empire. They could distribute these 5 spots however they wanted. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just that the Dragon Phoenix continent's martial artists were pitiful. The spots they should have had were directly taken away. But it didn't matter. Who told them to be weak? Of course, this idea was only circulated among the 4 great empires and the Genie School before the final selection began. As for what would happen after the final selection, that was unknown. In addition, this land of myriad lightning needed to be specially explained. The land of myriad lightning was covered in terrifying lightning all year round. No one could enter. Every 10 years, a crack would open in the land of myriad lightning, allowing martial artists to enter. Interestingly, this crack actually only allowed martial artists under the age of 30 to enter. If anyone over the age of 30 rashly entered, they would be immediately killed. According to the martial artists who entered the land of myriad lightning, there was wealth everywhere and spirit stones at their feet. Moreover, there were many ancient ruins that one simply couldn't imagine. If one was lucky enough, they could obtain incomparably great benefits. The 4 great empires and the Zhengyi School built a thunderclap city outside the land of myriad lightning. The city wasn't big. Its main purpose was to study the land of myriad lightning and prepare for the White Tiger Tempest meet that was held every 10 years. This city belonged to the Zhengyi School, but the 4 great empires had their own offices inside. The young martial artists weren't very clear about the specifics of the White Tiger Tempest meet this time. However, the young martial artists heading to Thunderclap City were most likely looking forward to entering the land of myriad lightning. Ling Xiao was the same. In the spectator stands, many young martial artists were eager to give it a try. According to the Tianhai Empire's imperial family, the rules of the final selection were very simple. As long as one's cultivation reached the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm or above, one could enter the arena to challenge. There were a total of 11 arena masters. Whoever stood firm in the end would obtain the final spot. The arena was divided into 11 arenas, which didn't affect each other. The arena masters had special privileges. They could accept challenges after recovering, but this time could not exceed 2 hours. This was also for the sake of fairness. After all, the competition was based on strength. Taking turns to fight would be meaningless. In the spectator stands, there were martial artists who wanted to participate in the challenge, and there were also martial artists who came to watch the fun. After all, this battle was the final selection. The final 15 people would be decided here. There would be no changes. Although the changes had been made, the martial artists were somewhat unhappy. However, it was understandable. No matter what, some martial artists had mysteriously disappeared, and some had been killed. Meanwhile, some young martial artists who hadn't been chosen previously had made great breakthroughs during this period. Since they were going to participate in the White Tiger Tempest meet, they naturally had to choose the best geniuses. They couldn't let mediocre people take the spots. Today is the start of the final selection of the White Tiger Tempest meet. The rules are very simple. You need to be at the 7th level of the Yin Yang realm or above to challenge the arena masters. Whoever becomes the final 11 arena masters will obtain the final spot. The people who appeared on the spectator stands were the Tianhai Empire's Prince Wu and Prince Yin. It was Prince Wu who spoke. He looked below the arena from time to time as if he was looking for someone, but he couldn't find anyone. Chapter 1796. Prince Wu did not find the person he was looking for. He glanced at the crowd and said loudly, "Whoosh!" As soon as he finished speaking, the 11 arenas were filled with warriors. The 7 small saints of Tianhai had all appeared. They occupied 7 arenas. This was also the intention of the Tianhai Empire. They wanted them to eliminate the warriors of the affiliated countries as much as possible and retain the warriors of the empire. The other 4 arenas were very interesting. The first person standing on the platform was a man in white who was as beautiful as a woman. "I am Prince Charming of the White Horse Country." The man smiled slightly. The second one standing on the second arena was a teenager who looked no more than 16 or 17 years old. "I am Longqin, a warrior of the Tianhai Empire." This self-introduction was very simple, but it was full of confidence. The third one, standing on the third arena, was a woman in black. Her face and figure could not be seen clearly. In everyone's eyes, she seemed to be a cloud of black smoke. It was a very strange feeling. The fourth one, standing on the fourth arena, was Lu Lian of the Lu family of Tianhai City. "Okay, the 11 arenas have already been filled. Let's start the challenges." Prince Wu nodded and said, "Let me make it clear. Every warrior has the opportunity to challenge different arenas. Each arena can only be challenged once. I hope you will cherish this opportunity. Now let's begin." He then sat down with a puzzled expression on his face. "Big brother, who are you looking for?" Prince Yun asked. "No one. Let's watch the competition." Prince Wu shook his head. Of course, he was looking for someone. He was looking for Ling Xiao. Unfortunately, he could not find Ling Xiao even after searching the entire arena. This made him very puzzled. Is that kid dead? Or did he escape? Prince Wu hated Ling Xiao to the core. He could not wait to tear Ling Xiao into pieces. Of course, he was not looking for Ling Xiao for any good reason. He just wanted to kill Ling Xiao. It was that simple. However, he could not find his target after searching here and there. He could only give up temporarily. In the arena, there were already warriors who stood up and attempted to challenge. This person looked to be in his late 20s, but as long as he was under the age of 30, there would be no problem. After he got on the stage, he scanned the 11 arenas and set his sights on Longqin. Very clearly, he felt that Longqin was a soft persimmon that could be pinched. "Kid, it's not easy for you to cultivate to the 7th level of the Yin Yang realm at the age of 16 or 17. Unfortunately, you're no match for me. It's better for you to step down now so you don't embarrass yourself." The person glanced at Longqin and noticed that the aura Longqin released was at the 7th level of the Yin Yang realm. For a 16 or 17-year-old youth, this level of cultivation was incomparably powerful. However, before geniuses grew up, they were nothing. They could still be killed. Not only him, the martial artists in the spectator stands also hissed, as if mocking the fact that there was really no one left in the Dragon Phoenix continent, even sending this kind of child to join in the fun. I heard that the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Empire is also a 16 or 17-year-old child. I heard about it too. It seems that kid is one of the missing people. Hee. That kid was quite arrogant a few days ago. He actually went to the underground world's Hell Tower to challenge. He was probably targeted by someone. He deserved to die. The Celestial Empire is really hopeless. This was the Celestial Sea City, so the spectators were naturally from the Celestial Sea Empire. They looked down on the martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent and slandered the martial artists from the Celestial Sea Empire. It was very normal. In fact, to most of the martial artists from the Celestial Sea Empire, the martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent were not qualified to participate in the White Tiger meet. This time there was finally a chance to kick them out of the White Tiger meet, so they were rather excited. Long Chin smiled at the martial artist and said, "Are you sure you want to challenge me?" "Nonsense. Who else would I challenge if not you? Kid, you don't even know your place. Don't you know the situation? Among the martial artists from the affiliated countries, only you and Prince Charming are in the arena. Compared to his cultivation, you're a far cry." This person was completely straightforward. His meaning was clear. "You're AF * King Weakling. Since I'm challenging the arena, of course I'll challenge you a weakling. Forget it. I didn't want to bully you since your cultivation is so weak. However, since you've come knocking on my door, I'll fight you." Long Chin could not raise his spirits when facing this martial artist who was only at the 8th level of the Yin Yang realm. The aura he released was only at the 7th level of the Yin Yang realm because he could not display his true strength in his human form. It was not that he was pretending to be weak. Currently, his cultivation was at the peak of the 10th level of the Yin Yang realm. If he entered his dragon form, it would not be difficult for him to kill a martial artist at the 12th level of the Yin Yang realm. He could even fight a martial artist at the 13th level of the Yin Yang realm. Who does this guy think he is? However, since Long Chin thought he was a weakling, he would just play along. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly exploded from his body. His right hand transformed into a terrifying dragon claw. What's going on? Why did this guy's aura suddenly become stronger? Apart from a few martial artists who were familiar with Long Chin, the rest were obviously shocked. They were suppressed by the terrifying dragon force, and their hearts thumped wildly. Roar! Long Chin suddenly roared. His voice penetrated the layers of barriers and flew directly into the challenger's ears. The challenger suddenly covered his ears and screamed in terror. It was too terrifying. The voice was like a heavy hammer that hit his heart. He could not fight back at all. "You can get lost now." Long Chin did not attack. He only looked at the challenger, who was at the 8th level of the Yin Yang realm, coldly. His eyes were filled with disdain and mockery. If the challenger could not even fight back against his roar, his claw would probably kill the challenger. Impossible! The challenger's body trembled. However, he refused to admit defeat. He roared loudly as if he wanted to use his voice to drive away his fear. Stubborn. Long Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Suddenly, he swung his right dragon claw. The challenger was sent flying dozens of meters away and died on the spot. Listen up. Don't disturb me if you're not strong enough. Otherwise, you'll end up like him. Although Long Chen really wanted to fight, he would not be annoyed if such trash came to fight him one by one. Hence, he did not show any mercy this time. He could not show any mercy. Even he could not control his strength when he swung his claw. After all, his control of strength was not as good as Ling Zhao's. The onlookers looked at the challenger, who died on the ground in terror. He was at the 8th level of the Yin Yang realm, but he was killed in one move. Where did Long Chen from the Tianhai Empire come from? Chapter 1797. Let's not provoke him. I heard that he has the bloodline of the Great Dragon? I heard that he's a descendant of the Great Dragon. No matter what the reason is, this guy's strength is definitely not as simple as it seems. Let's not provoke him. We might even lose our lives. Originally, many people wanted to challenge Long Chen. However, after this battle, most of the martial artists gave up on challenging Long Chen. After all, although the qualification for the White Tiger Gathering was important, one's life was more important. If one died, there would be nothing left. Long Chen looked at the scene with satisfaction. He sat down cross-legged and continued to wait for the challengers. He believed that not everyone was frightened by him. There would definitely be a powerhouse who could fight with him. At that time, he would be able to test his strength. On the spectator stand, an ordinary-looking young man suddenly smiled. Of course, this person was Ling Xiao. In fact, he had already arrived at the arena. However, he did not expose his true identity because he saw Wu Qinhuang and some heavenly demon sect elites hiding in the dark. If his identity was exposed, he might lose his life. Even if he could survive, he might not be able to participate in the White Tiger gathering. Damn it. Heavenly demon sect. Wu Qinhuang, just you wait. After I come out of the isolated lightning ground, I'll destroy all of you. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me. He gritted his teeth and looked at Long Chen. The dragon tribe's talent was too terrifying. Even with his tyrannical martial soul and various resources, he could only surpass Long Chen by 1 level. Of course, even if Long Chen advanced to the 11th level of the Yin-Yang realm, he would not be a match for him. However, the dragon tribe's cultivation talent was really powerful. It was no wonder that the human king would have a headache in the primordial age. Ling Xiao was glad that Long Chen was on his side and not his enemy. Otherwise, he would really have a headache. He looked at the martial artists around him. There were about 100 young experts under the age of 30 who came to challenge him. They were all at the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm and above. Many of them were lucky people who had recently broken through. These people were originally suppressed by the 7 small saints of the heavenly ocean. Now, they could finally hold their heads high. Big brother, aren't you going to challenge them? Hong Yue asked Ling Xiao with a smile. There's no rush. Let's watch the show first. The real experts will appear at the end. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He didn't want to expose too much of his strength, so if he could make a move later, he would make a move later. However, he did something very interesting. That was to tell Dan Feng, Cold Plum, Feng Minglian, Ji Luoyu, MOU, and Zhu Xiaocong to challenge and become the champion. Furthermore, the target of the challenge was none other than Xiao Badian, the 7 little saints of the heavenly ocean. They didn't challenge separately but together. The reason why he did not challenge Xiao Badian was because Ling Xiao felt an evil and powerful aura from Xiao Badian's body. It was definitely not something these 6 people could fight against. Even the 4 prodigies of Tianhai might not be a match for this little guy. Therefore, he avoided this person. Among the remaining 6 people, Water Shenxi's cultivation base was the highest. However, he was only at the peak of the 10th level of Yin-Yang realm. Dan Feng could definitely defeat him. The other 5 people, including the 3 remaining beasts of the Heavenly Ocean Saint Academy and Ghost Hand Laojiu, were all at the 9th level of Yin-Yang realm. The last one was Sun, Little Demon's replacement. He was also at the 9th level of Yin-Yang realm. Cold Plum was confident that she could defeat the 5 of them. However, the other person might have a harder time, but he should be able to win. Now, these 6 people's cultivation base had all reached a terrifying level. Dan Feng was at the peak of the 12th level of Yin-Yang realm. Cold Plum was at the middle of the 10th level of Yin-Yang realm. Feng Minglian and Ji Luoyu were at the peak of the 9th level of Yin-Yang realm. MOU and Zhu Xiaocong were slightly weaker. They were only at the peak of the 8th level of Yin-Yang realm. However, it must be mentioned that after absorbing the soul fire from the spiritual temple and using the demon crystal liquid to refine their bodies, even MOU and Zhu Xiaocong could challenge those of a higher level. Even if it was just 1 level, it was still much stronger than before. Ling Xiao had worked so hard and put in so much effort. He hadn't wasted his time. When these 6 people stood on the stage, the Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists were all dumbfounded. This small country actually dared to challenge the Heavenly Ocean Empire's 7 small saints? They thought too highly of themselves, didn't they? However, Ling Xiao only smiled coldly. After working hard for so long, he knew the strength of these 6 people too well. They would definitely slap the Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists in the face. After all, in the Heavenly Ocean Empire, Most martial artists under the age of 30 were no match for the 7 small saints. If they defeated the 7 small saints of Heavenly Ocean, it would definitely be a slap to the Heavenly Ocean Empire's face. Ling shouted this on purpose. Before he came here, he received news that the Heavenly Ocean Empire had shamelessly taken 5 spots from the Dragon Phoenix continent. Since that was the case, what else was there to say? Didn't you refuse to give us 5 spots? Then we'll snatch more spots. Fight! The 6 people attacked almost at the same time. Although the battles ended at different times, the final outcome was the same. The 7 small saints of Heavenly Ocean, except for Little Munchkin, were all defeated and kicked off the stage. Since then, 7 out of the 11 stages were occupied by Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists. The last one was occupied by Lu Lian, who could be considered one of Ling Xiao's people. The remaining 3 stages were occupied by Prince Charming, the Woman in Black, and Little Munchkin. This scene made countless Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists blush with shame. Next, there was a wave of challenges. The Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists attempted to overthrow the Heavenly Ocean Empire's 7 arena masters. However, the challenges only lasted for one wave because the Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists all used thunderous methods. Although they didn't kill anyone, they taught their opponents a lesson. No one dared to step forward. For a moment, the challenges were almost stopped. Prince Wu's face was gloomy when he saw the scene. He absolutely couldn't allow such a situation to happen. Let the demon crocodile guards attack. He gritted his teeth and looked at Prince Yun beside him. The demon crocodile guards were originally the Heavenly Ocean Empire's most powerful army. The genius martial artists among them were willing to give up their personal glory for the imperial family. Originally, they did not intend to participate in the White Tiger Storm gathering this time. However, the Heavenly Ocean Empire's martial artists occupied the White Tiger meet's candidate spots. How could Prince Wu tolerate this? Big brother, the demon crocodile guards can't be easily moved. They are the foundation of the Heavenly Ocean Empire. Only the Emperor can mobilize them. Even His Highness, the Crown Prince, can't. Prince Yun sighed and said, I think it's better to let Jingyi's school increase the spots instead of letting them attack. There were originally dozens of spots, but now it's reduced to 10 per empire. I'm afraid the 4 great empires won't be satisfied. Chapter 1798. That's true, but it's really unpleasant to let these martial artists of the Heavenly Empire be so presumptuous. Prince Wu was annoyed. Big brother, you are thinking too much. Don't forget that the 4 heroes of Tianhai are all martial artists of our Tianhai Empire, and that Lu Lian, that Ji Luoyu, and that Prince Charming are all from the White Tiger continent. Plus Tiny Tot, in fact, we have 8 of the 15 people. That's not a small number. Prince Yin was controlled by Ling Xiao, so he naturally helped the Heavenly Empire everywhere. However, what he said was somewhat reasonable, so Prince Wu couldn't refute it. After this matter is over, we'll immediately go to the palace to meet the Emperor. We must increase the number of spots for each of the 4 empires by 10. These 10 spots will all be decided by us and will no longer be distributed to the affiliated countries. Prince Wu snorted coldly. In his opinion, the affiliated countries were not qualified at all. Of course. Prince Yun echoed. Anyway, he had nothing to lose by doing this. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge? If not, they will be the final 11 champions today. Prince Wu only wanted to enter the palace to meet the Emperor at this time and really didn't want to waste time here. A bunch of cowards who didn't even dare to challenge the martial artists of the Heavenly Empire. What else could he expect? I'll do it. Ling Xiao slowly got up and walked to the challenge platform. His figure quickly attracted everyone's attention. He was not good-looking, and his figure was very ordinary. If he was placed in a crowd, he would be a guy who couldn't be found. Moreover, many people tried to peek at his cultivation with their soul force. However, they found that they couldn't see through this person's cultivation. However, this person's aura was really not strong. He felt very ordinary and didn't look like a handsome hero at all. "Big brother, wait for me." A voice that sounded like a silver bell came from behind the ordinary-looking man. Everyone's eyes lit up when they saw it. What a pretty little girl. She looked so delicate. Why would such a young lady follow behind such an unprepossessing fellow? Wasn't this too awkward? Do you also want a challenge? Ling Xiao looked at Hong Yue and asked, "I don't need to challenge because my master is the Taoist of the Jingyi school. I already have a quota. In fact, I can choose to fight for the Tianhai Empire or the Jingyi school." Hong Yu shook her head and said, "However, I'm afraid that my sister will challenge him. She came to Sky Sea City this time for the White Tiger Meets candidate list." Blue Snow? Ever since he found out about Blue Snow's childhood, Ling Xiao's disgust for this little girl had lessened a lot. It was replaced by sympathy. Her hatred for Prince Charming was even more intense. "Boy, why are you with Hong Yue?" Prince Charming looked at Ling Xiao with hostility. Not only did he want Blue Snow, but he also wanted Red Moon. He had already blacklisted that brat called Ah Ling. Who would have thought that another one would appear? "I don't think it's any of your business that I'm with her. Now, you should be prepared to be challenged." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "You actually want to challenge me? Do you know my cultivation?" Prince Charming looked at Ling Xiao arrogantly and asked, "I don't care what your cultivation is. I just want to go to the lightning extreme ground to play. Just give up your spot." Ling Xiao naturally knew his opponent's cultivation. This Prince Charming was in the 11th stage of the Yin-Yang realm. He was very strong. He was probably only slightly weaker than the sacred sword of the Wind Demon. This was why no one had chosen him from the start of the challenge. He was almost at the level of the Tianhai 4 heroes. Who would challenge him? Ha ha ha, this brat is really interesting. He's so naive. That's right. Does he think that the lightning extreme ground is so easy to enter? Little fellow, go home and play in the mud. This is not a place for you to mess around. Prince Wu also laughed and said from the main platform, the sudden appearance of this kid had amused him. "Why, I can't challenge you, but my cultivation is clearly in the 7th stage of the Yin-Yang realm." Ling Xiao released his aura. He was in the 7th stage of the Yin-Yang realm. "Ha ha ha, little fellow, it's not that you can't challenge me. You just chose the wrong opponent. Think about it. You're only in the 7th stage, and he's in the 11th stage. How are you going to fight him?" Prince Wu felt that this little fool was quite amusing. "But I don't care. I want to challenge him." Ling Xiao shook his head and said, all right. If you want to challenge him, go ahead. But don't blame me for not warning you if you get beaten to death." Prince Wu said, "Does that mean I can kill him too?" Ling Xiao tilted his head and asked in confusion. "Of course, as long as you have the ability." Prince Wu was stunned for a moment before he said with a smile. The spectators were already roaring with laughter. If Ling Xiao chose to challenge Mou or Zhu Xiaocong, he might have a slight chance of winning. But now, challenging Prince Charming was simply courting death. "You want to kill me?" Prince Charming's eyes were filled with disdain and coldness. He was still thinking about how to find an excuse to destroy this idiot, but now this fool had given him an excuse. "Wu Qinwang, Your Highness Yun Qinwang, you heard it too. He said he wants to kill me. If I accidentally kill him, you can't blame me," Prince Charming said to the rostrum. "Up to you." Prince Wu and Prince Yin were just watching the show. As long as the rules were followed, there would be no problem. At this moment, Prince Charming, no, most of the people in the gladiator arena thought that Ling Xiao was a fool. An idiot who didn't know his limits. He had just reached the 7th stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Instead of staying at home, he chose a strong opponent to kill himself. If he wasn't an idiot, then what was? "Hong Yu, after I kill this fool, I'll catch up with you." Prince Charming looked at Hong Yu with a hint of evil in his eyes. It made people feel uncomfortable. I don't want to catch up with a shameless person like you. Humph. Hong Yu wrinkled her nose. She was so cute that it made the group of werewolves howl. Prince Charming's breathing quickened. If you don't want to catch up with me, do you want to stay with this fool? Prince Charming asked in a gloomy voice. Yes. Good, very good. I'll make him kneel in front of me and say that he's an idiot in front of everyone. Let's see if you'll still like him then. Prince Charming had made up his mind. Not only would he kill this fool, but he would also humiliate him before killing him. You're the one who should kneel. Don't bully Hong Yu. Ling Xiao said loudly. Oh. The fool is angry. Mocking voices came from the spectators' stand. Hee. Prince Charming sneered. He was naturally happy to see so many people supporting him. Chapter 1799. At this time, Prince Charming was no longer willing to waste his saliva on a fool. He quickly subdued him, and then humiliated him in front of Hong Yu. That scene must be very exciting. Whoosh! Prince Charming pulled out a sword. This sword was extremely slender, and its slashing ability was almost zero. It was more like a gradually thin stick with a thin blade on it. Rapier. This was a unique weapon of the White Horse Country, and it was also the weapon that Prince Charming was best at. Prince Charming unsheathed his sword and abruptly thrust it towards Ling Xiao. Because the sword was relatively light and thin, there was very little resistance. Thus, when the treasured sword was thrust out, the resistance it faced was also very small. The cold killing intent penetrated the entire blade and then spread out, making the nearby audience feel a chill. Ling Xiao stood there, just looking at his opponent indifferently. Although the opponent's sword chi was fierce, it could not even disturb his clothes. The corners of his mouth gradually raised into a contemptuous smile, confidence and disdain. Do you still remember the little boy in the tavern? As Ling Xiao spoke, he gently stretched out his right hand, and his index and middle fingers made a pinching action. No way, such a strong sword chi. That kid wants to catch it with his hands? That's crazy. What a fool. The audience could not understand. Facing a warrior with a much stronger cultivation than him, not only did he not use a weapon, but he also did not dodge. He even wanted to use 2 fingers to block the attack. Little boy? You mean that boy called a Ling? You know that trash? Prince Charming was stunned for a moment, but the rapier in his hand was not stopped, and it was getting closer and closer to Ling Xiao's hand. Yes, because I am a Ling. Don't you recognize me if I change my face? Ling Xiao's smile became more obvious. Do you know why I chose you? It's for revenge. You almost killed me that day, and I said if I don't die, you will die. Ding! The rapier and Ling Xiao's fingers finally collided. The sharp sword chi was enough to pierce through a thick iron plate, but it could not penetrate Ling Xiao's 2 small fingers. So it's you, kid. You've even learned the art of disguise? I don't care what your face looks like. You will die today. Prince Charming suddenly unleashed his full combat strength at the 11th level of the Yin-Yang realm. The terrifying sword chi formed a soaring phantom that pierced through the clouds in the sky. Also, after you die, I will definitely enjoy the crimson moon, hee. He said these words to humiliate Ling Xiao, but he didn't know that because of these words, he would suffer a lot for nothing. Ling Xiao's original intention was to kill him, but now, letting this vicious guy die so easily would be letting him off too easily. Ling Xiao's face was as cold as ice. The cold air around him could even freeze people. What are they saying? The people in the stands were far away, so they couldn't hear what Prince Charming and Ling Xiao were talking about. They all stretched their ears anxiously. It doesn't matter what they're saying. It looks like Prince Charming wants that person's life. He probably wants that little girl. That person is courting death. He dares to challenge a martial artist at the 11th level of the Yin Yang realm when he's only at the 7th level of the Yin Yang realm. Even if he wants to die, he shouldn't do that. A cold snort came from the crowd. This was because they felt that Ling Xiao had underestimated this genius martial artist from Whiterun by using 2 fingers to fight Prince Charming. The human body was made of flesh and blood. How could 2 fingers fight against a Dharma treasure weapon? The rapier in Prince Charming's hand was clearly not an ordinary weapon. They seemed to have foreseen the next moment when the rapier cut off Ling Xiao's 2 fingers and pierced Ling Xiao's throat. Die! Prince Charming roared cooperatively as if he was about to unleash his most powerful attack. The scene was very shocking. Sand and stones flew around the entire gladiator arena as energy exploded. Everyone widened their eyes and didn't dare to blink. However, in the next moment, everything seemed to have stopped. You said I'm trash. Then what are you? A green and yellow light suddenly shot out from Ling Xiao's fingers. The light passed through the rapier and shot toward Prince Charming. Crack! The crowd clearly heard the sound of something breaking. Ah! A shrill scream came from the gladiator arena and entered everyone's ears. The trembling feeling made everyone feel that the owner of the voice was in extreme pain. The crowd looked in the direction of the voice. Prince Charming's fair and slender right hand was broken. His right hand was the one that held the rapier. It was broken from the wrist, and the rapier fell to the ground. It made a clanking sound. What? He actually won against a sword with 2 fingers? Are those really fingers and not a Dharma treasure? How did this guy cultivate? Kneel! Suddenly a cold shout was heard. The audience's eyelids twitched, and they all looked in that direction. They saw Ling Xiao's foot stepping directly on Prince Charming's head. Prince Charming knelt on the ground and looked at Ling Xiao with resentment. However, there was nothing he could do. The crowd suddenly remembered that Prince Charming had said before that he wanted this silly boy to kneel and kowtow to him. Now it was Prince Charming who was kneeling and kowtowing to this silly boy. Wasn't the contrast too big? Kowtow 10 times first. Ling Xiao smiled evilly. Then, ignoring Prince Charming's angry expression, Ling Xiao exerted force on his foot and Prince Charming's head suddenly hit the ground. Bang, 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 along with the dull sound, Prince Charming's head kept hitting the ground. Prince Charming's cultivation was originally high, so it was impossible for the ground to break his head. However, Ling Xiao had restrained his inner strength, causing his skin to collide with the ground. After a moment, his forehead actually turned black. Of course, this injury was nothing to Prince Charming. The most serious injury was probably the anger and frustration in Prince Charming's heart. Sometimes psychological trauma was much worse than physical trauma. After Prince Charming kowtowed 10 times, Ling Xiao removed his foot from his head. Then he looked at Prince Charming with a smile. His smile was filled with strong mockery and disdain. The audience was completely dumbfounded throughout the entire process. They could not understand how a mere 7th level Yin Yang realm idiot could humiliate Prince Charming, who was at the 11th level Yin Yang realm, so easily. Did they see a ghost? It was not that they saw a ghost, but they really did not know how powerful the Imperial Heaven Earth Queen's power was. Ling Xiao's true cultivation was at the 11th level Yin Yang realm, and his Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells had reached 1,200. In other words, even if Ling Xiao did not use the power of the Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells, Ling Xiao's mystic world body was already at the 12th level Yin Yang realm. Chapter 1800. Even a casual attack from a Yin Yang realm level 12 martial artist could absolutely crush Yin Yang realm level 11 martial artist. In other words, Ling Xiao could defeat martial artists below Yin Yang realm level 12 without using his inner strength or the power of the royal heaven earth. He could win with just his physical strength. Prince Charming would be seeking death if he fought with him. He would not be the one seeking death. Are you still convinced now? Ling Xiao looked at Prince Charming coldly with his hands behind his back. He said with a smile, "You did a good job kowtowing. Unfortunately, it won't change my mind to kill you." Ah! Prince Charming seemed to have gone mad. His muscles bulged, and a terrifying aura was released continuously. His originally handsome face also became incomparably ugly. A moment later, his body transformed into a centaur. However, this centaur was slightly bigger. He was about 3 to 4 meters tall, and he had a sharp spear in his hand. He looked ferocious. So ugly. So that guy is so ugly. He just used the power of his bloodline to make his ugly face beautiful. F***CK, what Prince Charming? I think he's more like a pig's head. Voices rose one after another from the spectators' stands. However, Prince Charming's hatred for this voice was completely unleashed on Ling Xiao. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao. It was Ling Xiao who had forced him to reveal his true colors and humiliated him in front of everyone. He definitely could not let this guy go. Oh, your strength is not bad. Unfortunately, even if you transform into a real centaur, you're still not my match. Ling Xiao scoffed. He suddenly kicked Prince Charming's body. The crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. Prince Charming's 3 to 4 meter tall body was kicked more than 10 meters away. Then he fell heavily on the ground. In the next instant, Ling Xiao appeared in front of Prince Charming like a ghost. He stepped on Prince Charming and said coldly, "I'm not in the mood to care about a shameless person like you. After all, I didn't think of myself as a great hero. But you insisted on provoking me, and this is the result. Just a trash like you is also fit to go and participate in the White Tiger Store meet?" Ling Xiao stomped down again. This time, one of Prince Charming's legs was directly crushed, and he could no longer move. However, the pain in his body was nothing compared to the pain in his heart. The Prince of Whiterun was humiliated by a plain-looking boy, and he couldn't even put up the slightest resistance. What was this? Everyone looked at this scene with fear and trepidation, not daring to believe what they were seeing. "Stop!" Suddenly, a voice came from the crowd. It was a girl in a blue dress. She looked very delicate, but she was a little cold. "Don't tell me you want me to let him go?" Ling Xiao asked Blue Snow. "No, his life is mine." Blue Snow gritted her teeth. The reason why she was willing to compromise and follow Prince Charming was that she hoped that one day she would be able to take revenge. After so many years of hard work and cultivation, she had always had revenge as her goal. Now, her cultivation was finally above Prince Charming's. Today, she originally wanted to kill Prince Charming in front of everyone and take revenge in an open and above-board manner. However, before she could make a move, she did not expect that Prince Charming would be defeated by someone else. This was very unexpected. "All right, I'll let you have him." To Ling Xiao, Prince Charming was like a disobedient dog, and it didn't matter whether he killed him or not. "If you let me have him, you'll have challenged him for nothing." Blue Snow said, "It doesn't matter. I'll take it that you've succeeded." Ling Xiao didn't want Blue Snow to challenge his own people, and it wasn't a bad thing for him to let Prince Charming go. Moreover, that little girl was about to turn into a block of ice because of hatred. The only thing that could melt this block of ice was revenge. He wasn't a good person, but he knew how to fulfill someone's wish. "Thank you." Blue Snow glanced at Ling Xiao and walked towards Prince Charming. Right now, Prince Charming was already seriously injured, and it was very easy to kill him. Actually, many people wanted to take advantage of this opportunity, but they didn't dare to move after glancing at Ling Xiao. This silly-looking kid was just too terrifying. Prince Charming, who was at the 11th level of the Yin realm, wasn't even worth mentioning in front of him. He was actually beaten up so miserably. Their fear of Ling Xiao rose spontaneously, even though they couldn't understand how Ling Xiao's body, which didn't look very strong, could contain so much power. However, the reality just now forced them to admit how terrifying Ling Xiao was. I suspect that this silly-looking kid has cultivated some terrifying body-tempering martial technique. Although that kind of strenuous and unrewarding martial technique has long been abandoned by the martial world, we can't rule out the possibility that this silly-looking kid cultivated it by accident. Only silly-looking people like him would risk their lives to cultivate that kind of strenuous and unrewarding martial technique. That's right. As the saying goes, fortune favors silly-looking people. This kid seems to have picked up a treasure. Although his physical strength is inferior, at least at this stage, it's still very terrifying. Everyone nodded to show their agreement. Body-tempering martial techniques were relatively common in the Archean era, so there were many people with powerful physical bodies. Such martial artists could even fight against Archean ferocious beasts with their bare hands. Unfortunately, it was too difficult to cultivate a body-tempering martial technique, and it was too risky. Moreover, it was strenuous and unrewarding. One might cultivate for decades and still not be as powerful as the other person's simple move. The other person's defense might not be as good as yours, but it was enough as long as they could kill you. A move that only took a month to cultivate could kill a body that had taken decades to cultivate. Most people were very shrewd when it came to calculating the cost. Because of this, body-tempering martial techniques gradually became an absolute alternative. They didn't expect to see such powerful physical strength in the gladiator arena today. This was considered an eye-opener. But even so, people's evaluation of Ling Xiao was still not high. They felt that Prince Charming had not chosen the right fighting method from the beginning. Against a cultivator of body-tempering martial techniques, it was absolutely impossible to get close. As long as he attacked from a distance and completely controlled the opponent, he would be able to win smoothly. People looked at Ling Xiao with interest. They just felt that this silly kid was a little fun. But the martial artists who truly cultivated peerless martial techniques were still disdainful of him. For example, the four prodigies of Tianhai. From the beginning to the end, they didn't even look at Ling Xiao. This was because body-tempering martial techniques could only bully some idiots who didn't know how to fight. To them, it was meaningless. Ling Xiao didn't care about their opinions. In any case, the mystic world body was just one of his many abilities. Even if it was broken, so what? He still had thousands of ways to protect himself and defeat his opponent. Chapter 1801. While everyone was paying attention to Ling Xiao, Blue Snow had already killed Prince Charming. The little girl seemed to have recalled the shadow of her childhood, and her actions were a little savage. The pitiful Prince Charming had already been beaten to a pulp. Ling Xiao sighed. He knew that Blue Snow was venting, but she had clearly lost control of her emotions. He had Crimson Moon go over to comfort her. Blue Snow was very cold to others, but she treated Crimson Moon like a real sister, even though they weren't biological sisters, just two orphans adopted by a small family. But this kind of relationship was perhaps even deeper. That person is quite interesting. A voice suddenly came from behind Prince Wu. Your Highness! Prince Wu and Prince Yin stood up at the same time, respectfully greeting the young man. Even though they were elders of Tyranny Heavenly Seas, in terms of cultivation, they were inferior to Tyranny Heavenly Seas. In terms of status, they were also inferior to Tyranny Heavenly Seas. So, in front of Tyranny Heavenly Seas, they could only be respectful. Yes, a young man suddenly appeared, and he actually defeated Prince Charming of White Horse Country with a cultivation of the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm. Prince Wu hurriedly replied, "Investigate his background. If his background is unknown, then kill him." Tyranny Heavenly Seas said indifferently, but his voice carried a meaning that he could not be questioned. "Understood, Your Highness." Prince Yun nodded. He was in charge of this matter. He could understand Tyranny Heavenly Seas' intentions. Now that the white tiger meet was about to begin, they couldn't allow any uncertain factors to appear. Who knew the identity of a kid with an unknown background? It would be bad if he ruined Sky Sea Empire's plans. At this moment, Ling Xiao's gaze also turned to the people around him. The martial artists of Dragon Phoenix Mountain were all present. However, with their cultivation, they clearly didn't have the qualifications to challenge him. Tian Hailan and Wind, which seemed to be in a good mood. He really didn't know how they could be so happy after losing the opportunity to participate in the White Tiger meet. Could it be because news of Ling Xiao's death had reached Sky Sea City? Was that why they were so excited? Thinking of this, Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Originally, he had planned to reveal his identity after obtaining the quota, but now he changed his mind. If they wanted to be happy, then let them be happy. He wanted to see how many people in Heavenly Sea City would be overjoyed by his death, Ling Xiao. At that time, it would be very clear whether they were friend or foe. In any case, even if he used a fake identity to participate in the White Tiger meet and enter the 10,000 Lightning Extreme Ground, the benefits would be the same. He did not mind at all. It was just that Tian Hailan and Feng Mo, these two idiots, still didn't understand that they had brushed shoulders with death. Ling Xiao kept them alive because he wanted to catch a big fish, not because he was kind enough to spare them. As for the 2C tribe cultivators, they were nowhere to be seen. No one knew where they were. Those two fellows were very strong. Ling Xiao already had this thought when he first saw them. Now that his cultivation base had risen to the 11th level of Yinyang realm, he still had the same thought. Although they might not be more powerful than him, they were definitely not to be underestimated. He turned his head and looked at the Heavenly Sea Empire's lineup. The Water Spirit Hall's lineup was really declining. After the Water God Sun's defeat, the young cultivators of the Water Spirit Hall were about the same as those of Dragon Phoenix Mountain. They did not even have the right to challenge the arena. Ling Xiao did not have the slightest bit of interest in this declining sect. If they were obedient, he would not do anything. But if they did not know what was good for them and still wanted to be his enemy, then he would really be sorry. He would definitely not let himself be wronged. Next, Ling Xiao saw a few people who did not need to be here. The first was Fan Ruohai of the Fan family. This person always gave off the feeling of a scheming old man. If not for the fact that he was already over 30 years old, he would probably be the nightmare of all young cultivators. Mu Wanchuang, who was as cold as ice, was always by his side. Mu Wanchuang was fresh and refined, as cold as frost. Standing there, she was like a goddess of war. No one dared to look at her directly. Of course, the reason why no one dared to look at her was mostly because of her terrifying strength. Of the 4 heroes of Heavenly Sea, apart from the sacred sword of the Wind Devil, the cultivation of the other 3 had always been a secret. The female hero who was as famous as Mu Wanchuang was naturally Sun Lingchan of the Medicine King Pavilion. Today, Sun Lingchan had also come. Her beauty was charming and enchanting, completely different from Mu Wanchuang. This kind of beauty seemed to attract the gazes of those men. However, very few people dared to have improper thoughts about this woman, because her strength was not inferior to Mu Wanchuang's at all. In terms of threat, she might even be more terrifying than Mu Wanchuang. As the weakest of the 4 heroes of Heavenly Sea, Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil was somewhat looked down upon. However, after experiencing the battle between him and Ling Xiao in the building of elites, that person actually gained enlightenment. The barrier that had been preventing him from making breakthroughs all this time was shattered, allowing his cultivation to increase in all aspects. Thus, the current Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil was clearly stronger than the one Ling Xiao had encountered at the Heroes' Pavilion. Standing there, he was like a sealed sword. Although there was no sword chi, no one dared to underestimate him. If one had to say who was the most terrifying, it was still Tyranny of Heavenly Sea. This person sat there, majestic and domineering. It was as if the entire world was in his grasp. The domineering aura that Phoenix Cry had displayed at Qi Mountain paled in comparison to this person. Looking at Tyranny of Heavenly Sea, Ling Xiao smiled slightly. However, This smile was tinged with excitement. The reason for his excitement was because he had discovered the strongest prey. He had originally thought that after encountering so many good things recently, his cultivation would increase greatly, and he should be close to tyranny of heavenly sea. However, today he suddenly understood that the higher one's cultivation increased, the more one would understand the terror of tyranny of heavenly sea. This person's strength was truly unfathomable. However, this kind of unfathomable depth did not make Ling Xiao feel afraid. On the contrary, Ling Xiao felt very excited. He felt that he had the motivation to cultivate desperately again. One day, perhaps in the 10,000 lightning extreme ground, he would be able to step on the head of tyranny of heavenly sea and ascend to the throne of first place. Although the 4 great empires and Jingyi school all had extremely strong martial prodigies. However, in Ling Xiao's view, it was unlikely that they could be stronger than tyranny of heavenly sea. Tyranny of heavenly sea had truly obtained many benefits from cooperating with Night Devil King. Ordinary martial prodigies could not compare to them. In fact, not just tyranny of heavenly sea. Even Sun Lingchan and Mu Wanchuang were no match for him. However, he was not in a hurry. When he had just arrived at the White Tiger continent, he did not even dare to take a hit from Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil. He could only dodge. The current him was no longer afraid of Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil. This kind of improvement was definitely visible. He was also proud of himself. As a result, there was nothing to be afraid of. As long as he took one step at a time and continued walking steadily, with his tyrannical martial spirit and his hard work, it was not impossible to step on those so-called geniuses. Chapter 1802. After Blue Snow took up one of the ringmaster's seats, there were only 2 people Ling Xiao could challenge on the stage. One was a mysterious woman in black. The other was Xiao Badian. The woman in black was at the 12th level of the Yin-Yang realm. She looked to be in her mid-20s, and she exuded a terrifying aura. This was why no one dared to challenge her. As for Xiao Badian, he sat there and ate as if this challenge had nothing to do with him. No one dared to find trouble with him. Who do you think this person will choose? The spectators couldn't help but feel nervous. Of course, they didn't know about Ling Xiao's relationship with the Tianhai Empire because Ling Xiao had changed his face and concealed his aura. He'll definitely choose MOU or Zhu Shaotsong. Although they're strong, they're the weakest among the 11 arena lords. Someone said, I don't think so. This fool chose Prince Charming from the start. This shows that he's someone who likes challenges. His next opponent shouldn't be weaker than Prince Charming. That makes sense. However, if he really does that, his chances of success will be much smaller. If it were me, I wouldn't be so foolish. A country bumpkin isn't as smart as you and me. As the 2 of them spoke, Ling Xiao looked at the woman in black. You, Ling Xiao said indifferently, I don't like your aura, so I can only choose you. He wasn't confident that he could win against Xiao Badian. The other 8 people were all on his side, so he couldn't choose them. Only the woman in black could become his stepping stone. The woman in black had the aura of a martial artist from the heavenly demon cult. This was why Ling Xiao didn't like her. Of course, Xiao Badian was also a martial artist from the heavenly demon cult. However, there was nothing wrong with choosing the weaker one. You're indeed a fool. You'll definitely regret choosing me. The woman in black's cold voice came from behind the veil. She had just observed the battle between Ling Xiao and Prince Charming. Ling Xiao had an outstanding physical technique and was extremely strong. Prince Charming's stupidity was to engage in close combat with her. He had made the wrong choice, but she was different. She was good at mobile warfare. This arena was large enough for her to display her skills. She was confident that with her powerful mobility, she would be able to grind Ling Xiao to death before he could even touch her. People were also worried for Ling Xiao. This black-clothed woman had encountered a challenge before, but her ghost-like speed had left her opponent unable to fight back and could only be tortured to death. That's why I said it earlier. If a body refinement martial artist doesn't have a powerful movement technique, then when he meets a martial artist with such mobility, he will be in big trouble. He will definitely lose. If you lose, so be it. Why are you so concerned about a guy of unknown origin? That's true, but I really don't like the aura of that black-clothed woman. If I had to choose, I would definitely support that idiot. Me too. It's a pity that the idiot chose the wrong opponent. On the main stage, Heavenly Ocean Tyranny closed his eyes as if he was resting, not paying attention to the situation on stage. Sun Lingchan kept staring at Ling Xiao. She felt that this idiot had a very familiar aura, but upon closer inspection, it didn't seem like it at all. It really isn't him. Sigh, that person disappeared just like that? I still can't believe it. She sighed helplessly and thought to herself. That Ling Xiao had stepped into the highest floor of Hell Tower and obtained the map of the secret realm. How domineering was that time? Who would have thought that after that they would only meet once? And that was when he delivered the pill. After that, more than half a month had passed, and there was no trace of that Ling Xiao. Speaking of which, she really did miss him. After all, it was too much of a pity for such a good alchemist to die. Let's do it. Ling Xiao looked at the black-clothed woman and said indifferently, I naturally won't regret my choice. The black-clothed woman shook her head and said, No, you will definitely regret it, because I never leave anyone alive. Since you've chosen to challenge me, don't blame me when you die. I'll give you a chance now. Withdraw immediately and choose another champion. Perhaps there's still a chance of success. With your strength, defeating MOU or Zhu Xiaocong shouldn't be a problem. Thank you for the reminder, but compared to them, I feel that defeating you will bring me more benefits. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Benefits? You won't have any benefits because you won't be able to touch me at all. You won't even have the chance to fight me head-on. The black-clothed woman didn't plan to waste her saliva. Her figure suddenly flashed and quickly distanced herself from Ling Xiao. Then, she casually swung her hand and 3 small crossbow bolts shot out from her right arm. It was obvious that there was a crossbow tied to her arm. The 3 crossbow bolts were all entwined with black energy. They actually attacked Ling Xiao from 3 different directions. The speed was very fast and the angle was very tricky. It was absolutely impossible to guard against. Is this the black-clothed woman's fighting method? It's really not bad. In this kind of battle, that fool's physical advantage naturally doesn't exist. When the audience saw this scene, they could even imagine the scene of Ling Xiao being defeated in the end. A ghostly voice came from the black-clothed woman's mouth. It's too late for you to admit defeat now. I've said before that once I attack, you can forget about living. She didn't want others to challenge her again and again, so she had to be ruthless when she attacked. Even if she couldn't kill Ling Xiao, she had to severely injure Ling Xiao to serve as a warning to others. So, you're using this kind of toy to attack me? Trying to hurt me? The corner of Ling Xiao's mouth cracked into a smile, and he casually waved his hand. Those crossbow bolts all broke when they hit his hand. What? The black-clothed woman was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but exclaim. She knew that Ling Xiao's defense was strong, but she didn't expect it to be this strong. I think you should take the initiative to admit defeat. If I'm not wrong, although your cultivation is very high, your basic advantage is in speed. Your attack power is too weak. It can't even compare to that Prince Charming. With your attack power, you can't break my defense at all. Ling Xiao looked at the black-clothed woman and smiled. Don't be so smug. With your speed, you can't touch me at all. On the other hand, I can think of ways to injure you or even kill you. Anyway, I have plenty of crossbow bolts. Let's see how many you can block. The black-clothed woman regained her composure. With her speed, he couldn't touch her at all. In this case, what was there for her to worry about? Are you sure I can't touch you? Ling Xiao's face revealed a sinister smile. Among warriors of similar cultivation, there was actually someone who wanted to compete with him in speed. Even if he didn't use the light and shadow ultimacy, he could firmly suppress this woman with his own speed. He really didn't know where she got her confidence from. Chapter 1803. Are you sure I can't touch you? That I'm not as fast as you? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Isn't that so? As the woman in black spoke, both her hands released arrows at the same time. Countless flying arrows interweaved into a net of arrows, completely covering Ling Xiao. Let's see how many you can block. She looked at this scene proudly, very satisfied with her masterpiece. Among the flying arrows that were shot out for the second time, several of them were engraved with special explosive runes. As long as it was touched, it would explode. And the power was very terrifying. This was what she was doing to increase her destructive power. She waited for that fool to block it, and then she would be able to see the scene of that fool's arm being blown off. But in the next moment, she was almost scared to death. Ling Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared from where he was, disappeared from her sight, and even his aura was gone. Countless arrows lost their target, and all of them hit the ground, accompanied by terrifying explosive sounds. Several deep pits were directly blasted out on the ground of the arena. It was enough to see the power of these arrows. But what was the point? Ling Xiao had disappeared. Such an attack, no matter how powerful it was also a waste. Crack! Suddenly, a crisp sound was transmitted into the audience's ears. Ah! After that, there was a shocking scream, which made everyone's scalp go numb. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound, only to discover that the woman in black's arm was actually grabbed by Ling Xiao, and now it was already hanging down. Obviously, the bone was directly crushed. This scene was simply like a fierce slap to everyone's face, causing those who had judged that Ling Xiao would definitely lose to feel their faces burn with shame. Playing speed in front of me is really ignorant. Haven't you heard that what a body-refining martial artist relies on the toughness of the body and instantaneous explosive power? Without speed, how can I survive? Ling Xiao stood beside the woman in black, looking at her with a smile that was not a smile on his face. I said long ago that you should admit defeat. This voice, in the ears of the audience, had a strong sense of ridicule. They just heard Ling Xiao let this woman admit defeat, and they all thought that Ling Xiao was crazy. But at this moment, they suddenly understood that it was not Ling Xiao who was crazy, but that they were too blind. All right, I won't kill you because you're really not worthy. Ling Xiao casually shook off the hand of the woman in black, then walked to the arena where the woman in black stood before. The woman in black looked at Ling Xiao's back view, her teeth grinding. She mocked Ling Xiao, simply could not touch her. But now, she was placed in front of the mobility that she was most as proudest. This kind of humiliation made her wish she was dead. Go to hell! Suddenly, the black-clothed woman roared. Her body turned into a black light, and her speed increased to the maximum. In everyone's eyes, they could no longer see her body. All they could see was the ghostly black light. However, Ling Xiao did not turn back, and did not even bother to look at this woman. I gave you a chance. Don't blame me for being cruel. He suddenly raised his right hand and then snapped his fingers. Puff! In midair, the woman in black, who was rushing forward, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and then fell to the ground. You, how is this possible? Only the woman in black knew what kind of attack she suffered. That was soul force. A very terrifying soul force. Soul force that could directly destroy her soul. She did not understand how could a body refinement martial artist have such a terrifying soul force. This was illogical. But this kind of question, she would never know the answer. She sneak attacked Ling Xiao from behind, which made Ling Xiao finally determined to kill her. After twitching on the ground twice, the woman in black finally breathed her last. At this time Ling Xiao looked back, shook his head, and said, "Why are you doing this? I already don't plan to kill you." Ling Xiao truly did not plan to kill this woman in black. Although he loathed her aura, there was no enmity between them. She did not seem like a Prince Charming. But this woman insisted on seeking death, sneak attacking him from behind, so she could not blame him. At this point, all 11 candidates had been selected. The Heavenly Empire had monopolized 7 spots, something that no one had expected. Of course, the most eye-catching was still Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had defeated 2 experts in a row, making him an expert comparable to the 4 prodigies of Tianhai. At this point, no one in the audience dared to look down on him. It was just that many people recognized the Tianhai Empire's martial artists, but this foolish boy's background was so mysterious that it made people suspicious. But this person was so powerful that he definitely had a backer, so it was best not to provoke him. Many people inwardly thought, putting aside whether or not they could bully Ling Xiao, even if they could they afford to provoke the person behind him? All right, today's selection will end here. Apart from the 4 prodigies of Tianhai, the 11 of you will represent the Tianhai Empire in the White Tiger Meet. The White Tiger Meet is a major competition that belongs to the entire White Tiger continent. It is the most glorious competition that martial artists under the age of 30 can participate in. I hope that you will take care of yourselves and not embarrass yourselves or the Tianhai Empire. Wu Qinhuang stood up and spoke in a clear voice. Ling Xiao looked at Wu Qinhuang indifferently, finding it funny. If this person knew that he was Ling Xiao, what kind of expression would he have? Danfeng, Lulian, Long Chen, Jiluoyu, Feng Minglian, Cold Plum, MOU, Zhu Xiaocong, Xiaobudian, Lan Shui, and you. What is your name? Wu Qinhuang had first-hand information about the others, but he did not recognize Ling Xiao at all, nor did he know where he came from. Hearing Wu Qinhuang's words, the audience also looked at Ling Xiao curiously, because everyone wanted to know this person's name and background. Does Your Highness Wu Qinhuang really not know who I am? A brilliant smile blossomed on Ling Xiao's face. Now that he was an official participant, according to the rules, the Tianhai Empire would strictly protect the 15 of them. Therefore, he had no need to be afraid, and revealing his true identity was no big deal. Moreover, even if he did not reveal himself, his enemies would vent their anger on his friends. If he was alone, he could play dead until the end of the White Tiger Storm meet. Who are you? Wu Qinhuang was stunned, and his face stiffened. He had never seen such a person before, so how could he know who he was? Ha ha ha! Your Highness Wu Qinhuang is really forgetful. Don't tell me that you don't even recognize me, Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao laughed. Ling Xiao. He actually said that he's Ling Xiao. That Tianhai Empire's Heavenly Emperor Ling Xiao? Impossible. Didn't they say that he's already dead? The crowd immediately began to discuss among themselves, and the place was filled with noise. Although Ling Xiao had not been in the Tianhai Empire for long, the things he did were too shocking, so he was too famous. Chapter 1804. In the short time he had been in the Tianhai Empire, Ling Xiao had killed the Dragon Prince, destroyed the little magical beast, ascended the Hell Tower, and ventured into the underground world. Regardless of which event it was, they had all become the best material for the storytellers on the streets and alleys. That was why Ling Xiao's fame was not small at all. The martial prince's body trembled violently as he stared wide-eyed at Ling Xiao, but he could not find any trace of Ling Xiao's aura on the person before him. Little friend, you may be Ling Xiao's friend, and you may cry injustice for his death, but there's no need to pretend to be him, is there? The martial prince suddenly laughed after looking at him for a long while. Ling Xiao shrugged, but did not remove his disguise. He felt that this situation of seeming right, but actually being wrong was not bad either. If the other party did not understand the situation and did not dare to jump to conclusions, it would at least confuse the other party's thoughts. If you don't believe me, then so be it, Your Highness Martial Prince. In any case, just register my name as Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He spoke so calmly and indifferently that no one could tell if he was telling the truth or not. Still, many people carefully distinguished his aura and appearance, and then connected the two figures to the Ling Xiao of the past. No matter how hard they tried, they could not overlap the two figures. The difference was too great. There was no way this guy was Ling Xiao. Perhaps, as the Martial Prince had said, he was Ling Xiao's friend, and had used Ling Xiao's name to investigate the cause of Ling Xiao's death. Tian Hailan and Feng Mou were both rather nervous. With no definite news from the Sky Demon cult about killing Ling Xiao, they could not eat or sleep in peace. After all, they had wronged Ling Xiao, and it was impossible for their hearts to be calm. Right now, they were most afraid that Ling Xiao would return for revenge. And yet, the unassuming youth before them bore no resemblance to the domineering and outstanding Ling Xiao of the past. They really couldn't believe that this Ling Xiao was the Ling Xiao they knew. It doesn't matter if you are the real Ling Xiao or not. Since you want to take responsibility for that brat, then you must die. Prince Wu still had a smile on his face, but he already had a plan in his heart. He wouldn't take the impersonator of Ling Xiao seriously, but in order to vent his frustrations from the underground world, he had to teach him a lesson. All right, this prince will register your name as Ling Xiao. Remember, after 3 days, everyone will gather here and head to Thunderclap City together. The Prince of Wu looked at Ling Xiao and said with a smile, "Thank you for your reminder. I understand. Can I leave now?" Ling Xiao asked Prince Wu. "Of course. Today's selection will end here. Those who want to leave can leave. Remember to gather here in the morning, 3 days later." After Wu Qinhuang finished speaking, he turned around and left. In his heart, he was concerned about the martial artists participating in this competition. Out of the 15 people, 7 of them were actually from the Tianhai Empire. This was unacceptable to him. Therefore, he had to enter the palace and meet the emperor. He hoped that the 4 great empires and the Jingyi school would renegotiate and increase the number of spots. Of course, Ling Xiao didn't care about these things. As long as he obtained a spot to participate in the White Tiger meet, that was enough. While the crowd was still in chaos, he secretly called Hongyu and Blue Snow to leave. Blue Snow had succeeded in her revenge and was actually somewhat grateful to Ling Xiao. However, this girl had been used to being cold for a long time and didn't know how to say thank you. However, from the fact that she was willing to leave with Ling Xiao, it could be seen that she seemed to have let go of the past and planned to live for herself again. "You seem to be very famous?" On the way, Blue Snow suddenly asked. "Yes, I am indeed very famous. Ling Xiao is my real name, but unfortunately, those people don't believe it." Ling Xiao said with a smile, "When the false turns into the real turns into the false, and the false turns into the real. Isn't this the same in this world? However, you are you. It seems that I really misjudged you back then." Blue Snow was young and mature. Although she was young, she spoke like a little adult. "Oh, you admit that you misjudged me?" Ling Xiao smiled. "I admit that you are stronger than me." Blue Snow nodded. In fact, she had already realized this from the moment Ling Xiao defeated Prince Charming and the woman in black. "It's good that you admit it. You and Hong, you don't have any relatives in Tianhai City, right? You can act with me in the future, if you are willing." Ling Xiao never minded having more helpers. He had too many enemies. He probably couldn't deal with them alone. Hong Yu and Blue Snow were very powerful. Although they were only 12 years old, their cultivation had reached the 12th level of the Yin-Yang realm, which was higher than his. This meant that their talent had reached a terrifying level. In fact, Ling Xiao could also feel that there was a special aura in their bodies that was very similar to Long Chen's. However, he couldn't confirm it yet. Blue Snow nodded, indicating that she was willing to follow Ling Xiao. No matter what, Ling Xiao had been a servant in their house for more than 10 days. He was the most familiar with her and Hong Yu. Other than Ling Xiao, she really didn't know who else to trust. Since that's the case, let's go meet my friends. Ling Xiao smiled and led the two girls in the direction of the Tower of Heroes. His friends, who were also his comrades, lived in the Tower of Heroes. Big Brother Ling. Brother Ling. Master. As soon as he returned to the courtyard, Long Chen, Dan Feng, Cold Plum, and the others came to welcome him. When they came back from the arena, they didn't leave with Ling Xiao. They had rushed back in advance to prepare the food and wine. Ling Xiao had returned after surviving a great calamity, so they naturally had to welcome him. Let me introduce you. This is Hong Yu and this is Blue Snow. They are both my saviors, and we will all be friends in the future. Ling Xiao returned to his original appearance and smiled as he introduced the two girls to everyone. Thank you both. Dan Feng and the others actually bowed to Hong Yu and Blue Snow in an instant. To them, Ling Xiao was not only their master, but also their savior. More importantly, they were friends who had gone through life and death together. If something were to happen to Ling Xiao, they wouldn't be able to live a good life either. Now that Ling Xiao had returned safely, it was really a great fortune. Their respectful words of thanks caused the two little girls to be in a state of confusion. No need to thank us. Big Brother is also our friend. Hong Yu hurriedly waved her hand. All right, we're all family, so there's no need to be so polite. I came back today to have a good drink with everyone. Ling Xiao relaxed the heavy atmosphere in an instant, casually sitting down on the seat that had been prepared for him. Good wine, good food, and the company of friends. It was a great fortune for a martial artist. It's a pity that we don't have good wine from the Fan family. Otherwise, this banquet would be even more interesting. Ling Xiao looked at the wine. Although it was good wine, it was just ordinary wine. It was really boring. Chapter 1805. After he finished speaking, Ling Xiao did not wait for anyone to say anything, and directly leaped away. He really left as soon as he said so, causing everyone to shake their heads and smile bitterly. Big Brother can't be some emperor, right? I seem to have heard you all call him His Majesty. After Ling Xiao left, Hong Yu was really bored, so she tilted her head and asked a question. Brother Ling is the celestial emperor of our celestial empire. He overthrew the rule of the true demon empire with his own strength, established the celestial empire on the heavenly dragon continent, and then unified the divine phoenix continent. Now, the divine phoenix and the heavenly dragon continent have merged into one and become the dragon phoenix continent. It's all thanks to him, Dan Feng said proudly. To be able to make a friend like Ling Xiao was a great blessing in his life. While they were chatting, Ling Xiao had already appeared in the Wonder Tower. After entering the Wonder Tower, he rushed up. In the past, his cultivation was much weaker than now, but he could already reach the top floor of the Wonder Tower. Now that his cultivation was much stronger than before, no one could stop him along the way. When he reached the top floor, he was blocked by someone. I'm sorry, the top floor has been booked by the Crown Princess for the White Tiger meet. Please leave. The person who blocked Ling Xiao was Shangguan Qing'er. However, Ling Xiao had changed his appearance, so Shangguan Qing'er could not recognize him. Booked? What kind of bag is that? Face? Ling Xiao looked at Shangguan Qing'er with disdain and said, I'm just going up to buy some things. Get out of my way. Today was a happy day, and he did not want to fight casually. If the Crown Princess had really booked the top floor, he would just buy some good wine and leave. He would not stay here for long. You are really impudent. Don't think that you can look down on the world just because you got a spot to participate in the White Tiger meet with your rough body. Get lost. Shangguan Qing'er said angrily. That's right, I don't care about you. So what? Ling Xiao did not want to fight, but Shangguan Qing'er used her position as the Crown Princess made to stop him from entering the top floor. This made him unhappy. You're asking for a beating. Shangguan Qing'er angrily pulled out her sword and stabbed at him. Ling Xiao didn't even look at him as he slapped him. The crisp sound of a slap rang out from the stairs, and Shengguanqinger was sent flying up the stairs. "You're just a B***TCH looking for trouble. I gave you face, but you don't want it." Ling Xiao cursed and then walked towards the top floor. This was the second time Ling Xiao stepped onto the top floor of the Wonder Tower. There were quite a lot of people on this floor. Fan Ruohai, Mu Wanshuang, Crown Princess, Sun Lingchan, Wind Devil's Sacred Sword, Water Shensi, Xiao Budian, and Lulian. The other two people were actually the two sea race martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent. Of these two sea race martial artists, one was called Wu Di. He was an expert in swordsmanship, and it was said that he could use many swords to attack his enemies at the same time. He actually had 3 heads and 6 arms. He was originally a nobody, but recently he seemed to be in frequent contact with the Tianhai Empire's imperial family, especially the Crown Princess. The other one was called Hai Bao. He had a bad temper and was very strong. Although he didn't cultivate any body-refining martial arts, his body was just as strong. In fact, in today's election, he had tried to challenge Ling Xiao, but was stopped by the Crown Princess. There was another person that Ling Xiao didn't recognize, but his aura was no weaker than the Tianhai 4 heroes. He felt that he was very strong and should be someone from the Tianhai Empire or someone close to the Tianhai Empire's imperial family. This person seemed to have a strong hatred for Ling Xiao. When he saw Ling Xiao, his eyes actually burst into flames, and the anger in his heart was spewing out. Even the temperature of the entire top floor instantly rose a lot. That's ridiculous. Ling Xiao looked at this person. He really didn't understand what kind of hatred he had with this guy. He just cupped his hands at Fan Ruohai and smiled. "Master Fan." Then he nodded at Lulian as a form of greeting. In this group, only Lulian had a good relationship with him. The others were either competitors or complete strangers. "My apologies. I ran into a dog blocking my way, so I went a bit overboard. Everyone, please continue eating. I'll go buy a few things and then leave." Ling Xiao faced the murderous gazes of several people, but it was as if he didn't see them at all. He smiled and cupped his hands, and then walked to the top floor counter. He was free and easy, but the Crown Princess's expression wasn't very good. Today, she had set up this banquet on behalf of the Crown Prince, Tianhai Tyranny, to reward those who had performed meritorious deeds and rope in talented martial artists. She had only excluded those martial artists from the Tianhai Empire. She hadn't expected that a mere country bumpkin would dare to ignore her. Not only did he not greet her, he even called her maid a dog, blocking his way. This was preposterous. Fan Ruohai only smiled at all of this. He had always felt that this self-proclaimed Ling Xiao was somewhat similar to the Ling Xiao of the past. As for how they were similar, he couldn't say. But based on his intuition, he didn't believe that he was mistaken. Thus, he still looked forward to Ling Xiao and treated him with great friendliness, just like how he had treated Ling Xiao in the past. To offend Ling Xiao for the Crown Princess? He wasn't that stupid. After all, the Fan clan and the Tianhai clan had always been at odds. It was just that this conflict hadn't been fully ignited yet. "Brother Ling, if you need anything, just let me know, and I'll have someone deliver it to your residence. There's no need to come personally." Fan Ruohai smiled. Sir Fan is too polite. As the saying went, one doesn't slap a smiling face. Even though Ling Xiao didn't know what Fan Ruohai was thinking or what his intentions were, he still treated him well. But other people were indeed good to him, so he didn't need to treat them coldly. However, just because Fan Ruohai thought highly of Ling Xiao didn't mean that others thought the same. Although some of the people present didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the White Tiger meet, in their view, it wasn't that they weren't strong enough, but that they couldn't fight for some special reason. They had to admit that Ling Xiao's body was very terrifying. He cultivated body refining techniques and was very difficult to kill. But in their view, this wasn't much. No martial artist would be so stupid as to compete with others in terms of physical strength. Since he had inner strength, soul power, and all sorts of powerful martial arts techniques, wouldn't he be a fool if he didn't use them? A true elite would have countless ways to kill a martial artist, like Ling Xiao. The genius martial artists present were all at the 10th level of the Yin-Yang realm or above. This fake Ling Xiao was only at the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm, so they really didn't need to be afraid. Although they had seen Ling Xiao defeat Prince Charming and the black-clothed woman. But almost everyone thought that it wasn't that Ling Xiao was too strong, but that those two were too stupid. If they were in his place, they definitely wouldn't have ended up like that. Humans were all like this, always thinking that they could do better than others. Chapter 1806. Young Master Fan is a magnanimous Prime Minister. However, please forgive Wind Demon's rudeness. Not only did this person impersonate the heavenly Emperor Ling Xiao, he also injured the Crown Princess maid and barged into the top floor of Wonder Tower. I cannot stand this. At this moment, Sacred Wind Demon suddenly spoke. It was clear that this was the Crown Princess order. Sacred Wind Demon already had a grudge against Ling Xiao. Now, this fake Ling Xiao was clearly here to stand up for Ling Xiao. He naturally hated him as well. That's right. Not just anyone has the qualifications to enter the 15th floor of Wonder Tower. Today, the Crown Princess has reserved the entire place. A mere country bumpkin like him barged in without an invitation. He is disrespectful to the Crown Princess. The Water God's son added. Water God had been particularly depressed recently. As Water God Temple's strongest genius, he had been very happy when he heard that Ling Xiao had gone missing. However, in today's selection battle, he had actually lost to Ling Xiao's followers. He had been heavily injured and couldn't continue with the following challenges. As a result, he had lost the right to participate in the White Tiger meet. Now that he saw this fake Ling Xiao, he wanted nothing more than to kill him. Of all the people you could impersonate, why did you have to impersonate that loathsome guy? Hearing these two words, Ling Xiao suddenly stopped. He smiled at Water God and then at Sacred Wind Demon. Then he said to Water God, "You piece of trash. You can't even participate in the White Tiger meet. What right do you have to boast so shamelessly?" Water God's face turned red from the scolding, but he couldn't refute Ling Xiao's words. On this point, he indeed didn't have the right to criticize Ling Xiao. Whether or not Ling Xiao was a country bumpkin, he had obtained the right to participate in the White Tiger meet. He was much stronger than him. Seeing Water God remain silent, Ling Xiao looked at Sacred Wind Demon and said, "Heavenly Ocean's 4 heroes? Ha! Heavenly Ocean Tyranny, Sun Lingchan, and Mu Wanshuang have the right, but who do you think you are? You think you're worthy of being called 4 heroes? He was just there to make up the numbers, right? Don't forget, this is the Wonder Tower, not your Wind Demon Manor. Young Master Fan is the owner of this place. He didn't even say anything. What nonsense are you spouting?" Hearing Ling Xiao's words, the sacred sword of the Wind Demon flew into a rage. There was no one. No one had ever dared to say that to him. Even the real Ling Xiao could only dodge his attacks. This fake Ling Xiao was actually so arrogant. Who did he think he was? Did he really think that he could disregard the sacred sword of Wind Fiend just because he had defeated Prince Charming? It looks like you're very angry. Ling Xiao smirked. But there's no point in being angry. No matter what you say, you're not the one in charge here. It's Mr. Fan. As long as Mr. Fan says that I, Ling Xiao, am not qualified to shop here, I will leave immediately. I, Ling Xiao, am not a shameless person. I will not be a shameless dog for a few glasses of wine and some delicious food. I also hope you know your place. Don't treat yourself as an outsider. It's not up to you to give orders here. He was here to buy things. The Wonder Tower was an open restaurant. As long as one had the ability, they could buy things from it. This was also the unchanging rule of the Fan family. Even if Fan Ruahai wanted to take care of the crown princess's feelings, he would not ruin the Fan family's reputation. Moreover, Ling Xiao had long seen that the Fan family and the royal family appeared to be in harmony, but were actually at odds. Fan Ruahai would not do that. Bastard, you dare to look down on me. The sacred sword of the wind demon was in a terrible mood after being scolded by Ling Xiao. In the mystic world, strength was respected. The reason he dared to mock Ling Xiao was because he felt that Ling Xiao was not as strong as him. According to his thoughts, Ling Xiao should obediently accept his sarcasm. But who knew that this country bumpkin fake Ling Xiao would be as arrogant as the real Ling Xiao, not giving him any face at all? So what if I look down on you? Who do you think you are? Do I have to respect you? Ling Xiao might have been afraid of the sacred sword of the wind demon in the past, but today he was no longer the same person. He had absolute confidence in winning against the sacred sword of the wind demon. If this guy really did not know what was good for him, he did not mind teaching him a lesson. But the problem was that the sacred sword of the wind demon was also an official participant of the white tiger meet. According to the rules, official participants could not be killed. Otherwise, the consequences would be severe. Ling Xiao would not do such a stupid thing for a moment of pleasure. Of course, teaching him a lesson was still acceptable. Ha! The wind demon's sacred sword was so angry that he laughed. I really don't understand. You're just a 7th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. You barely managed to get a spot to participate in the White Tiger Tempest meet with your thick skin and insignificant speed. What gives you the confidence to talk to me like that? As he laughed, the sacred sword of the wind demon suddenly released an extremely powerful sword chi. It stabbed towards Ling Xiao like a sharp sword, suppressing and threatening Ling Xiao. You'll know what confidence I have when you attack. If you're afraid, hold it in. Don't grumble like a resentful wife. Ling Xiao did not intend to attack first. Only by attacking passively would he have a reason to beat this guy up. Moreover, the Tianhai Empire would not have a reason to slander him. I look like a resentful wife? I don't dare to attack. The sacred sword of the wind demon felt that he could no longer control himself. Even the people sitting on the top floor felt that the fake Ling Xiao was too daring. If the sacred sword of the wind demon was forced into a corner, he would definitely kill. At most, he would not participate in the White Tiger meet. If you want to attack, then hurry up. I still have to buy things to meet with my friends. I don't have time to chat with you. Ling Xiao did not even look at the sacred sword of the wind demon. He walked straight to the counter and said loudly, "Give me 100 jars of 5 poison sacred wine, 20 jars of ice dragon wine, 20 jars of fire dragon wine, and 100 wonder set meals. I want the best ones." After killing 73 heavenly demon disciples, Ling Xiao was now very rich. Although the things he wanted to buy were rather expensive, he did not care. Damn it! How dare you look down on me? The sacred sword of the wind demon panted in anger. He was like a bomb that could explode at any moment. Whoever dares to sell him wine will be an enemy of the sacred sword of the wind demon. Hearing this, the crown princess could not help but frown. This idiot. This is the Wonder Tower. Aren't you saying that you're above Fan Ruahai? That Fan Ruahai is someone that even the crown prince is wary of. How stupid. Sure enough, Fan Ruahai's eyes narrowed when he heard this. He then said coldly, "Our Fan family is open to business. We dare to do business with anyone. I wonder how your sacred sword of the wind demon will cause trouble for me?" Hearing this, the sacred sword of the wind demon felt a chill run down his spine. He was instantly roused from his rage. Chapter 1807. Young Master Fan, that's not what I meant. The sacred sword of wind demon hurriedly tried to explain, but unfortunately, Fan Ruahai did not buy it. Of course, with Fan Ruahai's status and identity, He would not do anything to the sacred sword of Wind Demon. Moreover, the sacred sword of Wind Demon was an official member of the White Tiger Meat. If he did anything, it would bring trouble to the Fan family. Therefore, Fan Ruohai thought of an even better idea. You don't want us to sell wine to Ling Xiao. Fine, I'll give him wine. This move of his could be considered to be a good one. He had planned to win over Ling Xiao, but he could not find an excuse. Now, he could use this opportunity to give Ling Xiao some benefits. He believed that Ling Xiao would accept it, not for anything else, but to slap the sacred sword of Wind Demon's face. As expected, the sacred sword of Wind Demon's expression was very awkward. It was as if he wanted to find a mouse hole to hide in. Fan Ruohai would rather give wine to the fake Ling Xiao than take him seriously. He was really a coward. Haha, don't be angry, young Master Fan. The sacred sword of Wind Demon does not dare to disrespect you. Why don't you spare him for my sake? The Crown Princess said with a chuckle. Of course, I have to give face to the Crown Princess. However, I have always been a man of my word. I can't take back the wine I promised to give Ling Xiao, can I? Fan Ruohai looked at the Crown Princess with a sly look. The Crown Princess cursed inwardly. This guy was really cunning. He actually dragged her into this. She had already pleaded for the sacred sword of Wind Demon. If she was stingy with a few cups of wine, it would be too embarrassing. She was a member of the royal family and the Crown Princess. Sometimes her face was more important than her life. Fine, I'll give him the wine he wants. However, I have a request. I can only give him what he can drink on the spot. Otherwise, I can't do anything if he wants to buy all the wine in the Wonder Tower. The Crown Princess pondered for a moment and said, this was a relatively safe method. She didn't believe that Ling Xiao could drink that much wine. After all, the wine in Miracle Tower wasn't ordinary wine. Even an Yin-Yang realm martial artist would need a long time to digest a jug of wine. In her opinion, since Ling Xiao cultivated a body refining martial art, his physique might be stronger than ordinary martial artists, but it shouldn't exceed 2 or 3 jars. Sure. A cold smile flashed across Fan Ruohai's lips. If this Ling Xiao was really that Ling Xiao, then the Crown Princess would have to pay a huge price this time. Since the Crown Princess finds it hard to refuse such great hospitality, then I will reluctantly accept. First, 2 jars of 5 poisons, sacred wine. Ling Xiao also smiled. Why wouldn't he drink the wine that someone gave him for free? Men, bring the wine. The Crown Princess called out softly, and 2 jars of 5 poisons, sacred wine, filled with a special smell, were placed on her table. Catch! The Crown Princess's wine naturally couldn't be drunk so easily. She suddenly slapped the table, and one of the jars flew up and spun violently in the air. She lightly slapped the wine jar again. The jar instantly sped up and shot towards Ling Xiao. At this moment, not only was the wine jar extremely fast in the air, but it was also spinning continuously. The Crown Princess clearly wanted to embarrass Ling Xiao. If one did not have enough control over their inner strength, the moment they touched the wine jug, the jug would instantly shatter. When Ling Xiao embarrassed himself, the Crown Princess could at least vent a little. Everyone present was an expert and could naturally see this. Some people revealed treacherous smiles in schadenfreude. However, Lu Lian was a little worried. Fan Ruohai was still smiling, and it was impossible to tell what he was thinking. Thank you for the wine, Crown Princess. All of a sudden, Ling Xiao stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the wine jar. There was no technique at all. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help secretly thinking, indeed, a boorish man. It's impossible to be the real Ling Xiao. The Wind Fiend, Sacred Sword, Water God Sun, and the rest were all waiting to see Ling Xiao make a fool of himself, because they knew that as long as Ling Xiao's hand touched the wine jar would definitely shatter instantly. However, the following scene made them stare with their mouths agape. Ling Xiao's hand grabbed the wine jar, but that wine jar did not shatter. Not only did it not shatter, all the spinning and momentum stopped instantly. The wine jar was firmly grasped by Ling Xiao. Even the wine inside did not drip out. Ha ha ha! Ling Xiao laughed heartily and then started drinking in big mouthfuls. Beautiful, very beautiful. This wine is indeed flavorful. The reason why Ling Xiao chose the 5 poison sacred wine was naturally for a reason. The 5 poison sacred wine was brewed with 5 types of deadly poisons as condiments. Its effect was to greatly stimulate every cell in a warrior's body, allowing a warrior's potential to erupt even more. It allowed a warrior's body to be tempered. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation had completely recovered, he could feel that there was still a large amount of energy in his cells that needed to be absorbed. If he could absorb this energy, his cultivation might even continue to break through. For others, the 5 poisons sacred wine would cause them to feel a heart-wrenching pain. If their body was slightly weaker, they would probably lose their lives. However, for Ling Xiao, this 5 poisons sacred wine was an excellent tonic. Here's your wine jar. After Ling Xiao finished drinking, he suddenly threw the wine jar back. There was even a cold smile on his lips. The crown princess wanted to embarrass him, so he would not let it go so easily. How dare you! At this moment, the wind fiend sacred sword sitting next to the crown princess pounced out and reached out to grab the wine jar. Whether the crown princess could take the wine jar or not, it was an insult to the crown princess. Therefore, the wind fiend sacred sword had to block it. After all, the crown princess gave Ling Xiao the wine for him. Smack! The seemingly stable wine jar suddenly shattered in the wind fiend sacred sword's hand. The fragments flew out, shocking the nearby warriors into using their inner strength to block it. Although the wind fiend sacred sword was not injured, he appeared to be in a very sorry state. Haha! I was just returning the crown princess's inner strength to the crown princess, but you had to play the hero. Don't blame me for embarrassing you. Ling Xiao glanced at the wind fiend sacred sword and shook his head with a smile. At this moment, everyone looked at Ling Xiao with something else in their eyes. This person was definitely not as crude and unbearable as he appeared. He could actually forcefully suppress the crown princess's inner strength that she injected into the wine jar and return it. Just this control alone was not something an ordinary person could do. Crown princess, continue. How can one jar of such fine wine be enough? Ling Xiao no longer looked at the unlucky wind fiend sacred sword and looked at the crown princess. If he didn't drink this crown prince consort till she became poor, then he wouldn't be called Ling Xiao. What is this guy's body made of? Body tempering techniques really have such a powerful effect? Chapter 1808. Everyone was shocked to hear that Ling Xiao still wanted to drink. That was the 5 poisons sacred wine. It was the strongest wine in Wonder Tower, and also the most dangerous wine. Ordinary martial artists did not even dare to touch it. Only martial artists who boasted of their strong bodies could only drink 1 or 2 mouthfuls before resting for half a day. That kind of heart-wrenching pain was really not something that everyone could endure. Even a martial artist at the 10th level of the Yin-Yang realm would probably die after drinking a jar of it. However, Ling Xiao was too strong. He drank an entire jar of wine and acted as if nothing had happened. He still wanted more. They did not know that the strong poison might be harmful to others, but it was beneficial to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao did not have much money to buy large amounts of 5 poisons sacred wine. It would take too long to brew it himself, and the key ingredients were not easy to find, especially the 5 strong poisons, which were very rare. The Fan family could brew it in large quantities because they raised the 5 poisons themselves. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to do it. He wanted to use this opportunity to drink to his heart's content and make the crown princess bleed. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. At this moment, the sacred sword of Wind Demon, stood there dripping wet. He looked extremely wretched. No one cared if he was humiliated. They were all concerned about whether Ling Xiao could drink a second jar of 5 poisons sacred wine. His face was so dark that it looked as if ink could drip out of it. This enmity was completely formed. The crown princess frowned slightly. Then she sneered and waved at the counter. "Bring 9 more jars of 5 poisons sacred wine. Since this little brother likes to drink, I'll let him drink to his heart's content." Her intention was very obvious. If 1 jar could not kill him, then 2 jars. If 2 jars could not kill him, then 3 jars. She asked for 9 jars. Including the one on the table, there were 10 jars. Was she afraid that Ling Xiao would not die? If this fake Ling Xiao really died from drinking, then she would save herself a lot of trouble. "Take this, little brother." The crown princess revealed a cold smile and then slapped the table with both hands. The 10 jars of wine on the table actually shot towards Ling Xiao at the same time. Moreover, this angle was different. It was clearly a very exquisite hidden weapon technique. Every angle was a place where Ling Xiao could not exert his strength. She wasn't able to embarrass Ling Xiao the first time, but instead made the Wind Demon sacred sword suffer, so she was very unhappy. This time, she wanted Ling Xiao to die in a situation where his ugly face was exposed. Only then would she be able to dispel the hatred in her heart. The corners of Ling Xiao's mouth curled up into a sneer. His figure suddenly flickered and turned into an afterimage as he tore through the sky. Then, everyone saw a shocking scene. The 10 jars of 5 poisons sacred wine seemed to be blown by the tornado. The wine in the jars flew out and followed the tornado. In the end, they all disappeared. Then, people found that Ling Xiao had returned to his original position. His face was red, and the aura of his whole body was burning. This was clearly caused by drinking a large amount of 5 poisons sacred wine. Ordinary people might not be able to see clearly what Ling Xiao had just done, but these people present were not blind. They were all experts. They clearly saw Ling Xiao circling the 10 jars a few times. However, this speed was so fast that it had already formed a tornado. Then, the wine in the jars was all drunk by him. "I'll return the jars to you." After drinking all the wine, the 10 jars were still thrown towards the crown princess by Ling Xiao. This time, Ling Xiao also used the hidden weapon technique. He had once devoured the hidden weapon martial soul of a young genius from the Tang family on the Sky Dragon continent. Although he had not used it, it also made him proficient in the hidden weapon technique. Although the Tang family had declined and their cultivation was not very good, their hidden weapon technique could be said to be number 1 in the mystic world. When the 10 jars flew out, it actually made the crown princess feel a sense of panic. She was very strong and naturally was not afraid of attacks. However, it was absolutely impossible for her to receive these 10 jars unscathed. Helpless, the crown princess' palm wind shook, and the 10 jars were immediately completely shattered. Although she blocked Ling Xiao's attack, she was clearly not as free as Ling Xiao. This could also be considered a small loss of face. Her pretty face was flushed red and sullen, but she was unable to vent, because she used the wine jars to test Ling Xiao first. Now he was just returning the wine jars, but she could not receive them well. Getting angry at this time would undoubtedly be even more humiliating. Moreover, at this time her gaze was fixed on Ling Xiao, because she wanted to see Ling Xiao's livers and guts being cut to pieces and in agony after the 10 jars of 5 poisons sacred wine entered his stomach. Ling Xiao's appearance was indeed somewhat special. His face was red like a soldering iron. His body was actually constantly emitting a strange heat. As for Ling Xiao's body, he felt as if there was a raging fire burning inside, trying to completely corrode his internal organs. "Ah!" Ling Xiao suddenly roared and spat out a mouthful of black, flame-like alcohol. When everyone saw this, except for Lu Lian and a few others, the rest were gloating. This fake Ling Xiao was really stupid. You actually dared to drink 10 jars of 5 poisons sacred wine in one go. You're finished now. You deserve to die. The water god sneered as though Ling Xiao had been defeated by him and was rather proud. The sacred sword of Wind Demon also looked at Ling Xiao and finally looked much more comfortable. It seemed that this fake Ling Xiao was courting death and there was no need for him to do anything. Burp. However, to everyone's surprise, Ling Xiao suddenly burped a moment later, and his complexion actually returned to normal. Crown Princess, bring the wine. What are you waiting for? He said to the Crown Princess with a smile. You can still drink? The Crown Princess was stunned and her eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What kind of physique did this guy have? He had already drunk 11 jars of 5 poisons sacred wine. Each jar of 5 poisons sacred wine on the top floor was worth 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones. 11 jars were worth 1,100,000 mid-grade spirit stones. Although she was rich, she could not accept taking out so many spirit stones to give to an enemy. However, the arrow had already been knocked, and she had no choice but to release it. She was completely unable to back down. She had to buy as much as Ling Xiao could drink. Otherwise, as the Crown Princess, she would lose all her face today. All right, since you're not afraid of death, give me 10 more jars. The Crown Princess frowned and shouted at the counter with a delicate chuckle. The 10 jars of wine were quickly delivered. However, the Crown Princess did not do anything this time. She just obediently delivered the wine to Ling Xiao's table. She had tried to prank Ling Xiao twice before but failed. Instead, she got herself into trouble. She did not want to continue. Ling Xiao drank all 10 jars of wine once again. The moment the 10 jars of wine entered his stomach, he clearly felt the closed cultivation in his body open up again. At that moment, he saw the 12th floor of the Hell of Beasts. It could turn people into beasts and torture them. Chapter 1809. In order to break through to the 12th level of the Yin-Yang realm, one had to go through the torture of the Hell of Animals. It was extremely difficult to endure the pain of animals. Many martial artists couldn't endure the pain of animals and failed to break through. They would forever be stuck at this level. However, what did Ling Xiao have to fear? His primordial spirit stepped into the Hell of Animals and turned into a ferocious beast. He used the body of the evil beast demon king to trample through the Hell of Animals and successfully walked out. Breakthrough successful. However, in order to prevent others from noticing the signs of his breakthrough, he deliberately suppressed his aura. This time, Ling Xiao's body seemed to be tortured by the terrifying 5 poison sacred wine because of his breakthrough. It didn't return to normal for a long time. After more than 10 minutes, Lu Lian stood up anxiously. She was worried that Ling Xiao couldn't take it anymore. Fan Ruohai frowned and thought to himself, did I see wrongly? Is this a fool who doesn't know his own strength and not the real Ling Xiao? It's best if he's dead. A fool who doesn't know his own strength. The water god let out a cold snort and looked disdainfully at Ling Xiao, who had not moved for a long time. 21 jars of 5 poison sacred wine. If it were her, she would drink it carefully even if it was just 1 jar. Ling Xiao was courting his own death. He couldn't blame anyone else. Water Shensi, throw this trash's corpse out of the window. There are demonic beasts down there and they can enjoy the delicacies. Don't ruin everyone's mood. Wind Demon, sacred sword, suddenly said. Water Shensi nodded and stood up. She had wanted Ling Xiao to die for a long time. This was a rare opportunity. She knew that Wind Demon's sacred sword was giving her a chance to take revenge. Although this was a fake Ling Xiao, he was definitely a friend or admirer of Ling Xiao. Killing him would help her vent her anger. I advise you not to act recklessly. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Lu Lian blocked water, Shensi coldly. She would never allow anyone to hurt Ling Xiao because she knew that this was the real Ling Xiao. Water, Shensi frowned. If Lu Lian were to block her, she would have no choice. Lu Lian's cultivation was much stronger than hers. If they were to fight, she would only be at a disadvantage. Scram! The sacred sword of Wind Demon suddenly appeared from behind and attacked Lu Lian. Lu Lian hastily blocked. The water god took the opportunity to dash out and reach out to grab Ling Xiao. However, at this moment, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the water god with a smile that was not a smile. He opened his mouth. Good wine indeed. As he spoke, a black wine vessel shot out from his mouth and stabbed towards water god like a sword chi. He could not easily kill the sacred sword of the wind fiend. But water god was not an official participant of the white tiger meet. Killing him was not a big deal. Moreover, this person had always wanted to take his life. Today, he even wanted to throw him off the miracle tower. If he didn't kill this person, how could he, Ling Xiao, be satisfied? This sword chi was too fast and too sudden. Water god did not have any reaction and was directly pierced through by the black sword chi. A terrifying poison spread throughout her body. Ah! Water god let out a shocking scream. The warriors present felt a chill down their spines and their scalps tingle. Scram! Then Ling Xiao slapped water god in the face, sending him flying out of the wonder tower and crashing to the ground. At this moment, everyone's eyes were stunned. Lu Lian revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Fan Ruohai was stunned for a moment and smiled. Back then, he thought that Ling Xiao would be killed by the Hell Overlord in the Hell Tower. However, the facts later proved that his judgment was wrong. This also made him adjust his expectations of Ling Xiao. It was precisely because of this matter that he absolutely did not believe that Ling Xiao would be killed so easily. Even if the fake Ling Xiao in front of him and the real Ling Xiao looked incompatible, he still insisted that this person was Ling Xiao. You actually killed her? Sacred Sword of Wind Demon widened his eyes and roared in fear and anger. So what if I killed her? She's not an official participant of the White Tiger meet. Moreover, she's not strong enough, so she should learn to be obedient. Did she think that I, Ling Xiao, am a pushover? Ling Xiao looked at Sacred Sword of Wind Demon with disdain and said indifferently. Sacred Sword of Wind Demon opened his mouth, but did not say anything in the end. Water God attempted to kill an official participant of the White Tiger meet. This was a capital offense. Now that she was killed by the fake Ling Xiao, he could not find a reason to take revenge. No matter what, this fake Ling Xiao was in the right. Your Highness, thank you for the wine, but I haven't had enough. How about some more? Ling Xiao ignored Sacred Sword of Wind Demon and looked at the Crown Princess. His eyes were filled with mockery and ridicule. Aren't you rich? Today, I'll drink until you're broke. Let's see if you still dare to act tough. The Crown Princess was dumbfounded. That was the 5-poison sacred wine, a top-grade wine that cost 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones per jar. It was not a wine that ordinary people could drink. Even low-grade spirit stones could not buy it. This guy had already drunk 21 jars, which cost her 1 million mid-grade spirit stones. He was still not dead? Still not drunk enough? You're still in the mood to drink? You killed Water God, and the Water Sacred Hall Master will not let you off. You'd better run for your life. Sacred Sword of Wind Demon looked at Ling Xiao and said coldly, It's none of your business whether I run for my life or not. It's rare for the Crown Princess to treat me today. If I don't drink more, how can I live up to her hospitality? Ling Xiao glanced at Sacred Sword of Wind Demon indifferently. If not for the fact that this guy was qualified to participate in the competition, he really wanted to kill this annoying guy right now. Why did he have so much nonsense to say? The crown princess's brows were almost knitted together. She took a deep breath and said, "Okay, I'll give you 10 more jars. That should be enough. This wine is not cheap, and its effect is too strong. As a member of the competition, you'd better not drink yourself to death." "Crown Princess, are you out of money?" Ling Xiao suddenly smiled and said, "If Crown Princess is really out of money, I can buy it myself. Anyway, that's what I planned to do in the beginning." His smile was filled with mockery. Sun Lingchan, Mu Wanshuang, Fan Ruohai, and Little Munchkin all looked at the Crown Princess with half smiles. Today's banquet was hosted by the Crown Princess. If she embarrassed herself in front of these people, what dignity would she have in the future? "Okay, I'll let you drink as much as you want today. Drink until you're dead drunk." The Crown Princess gritted her teeth and looked at Ling Xiao. Although it pained her to lose spirit stones, it was more serious to lose face. Therefore, she would rather lose some mid-grade spirit stones than lose face in front of these people. Otherwise, the Crown Prince would look down on her. "Great. Then let's have 100 jars first." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "How much?" The Crown Princess was stunned. "You really want to die?" Chapter 1810. I know very well whether I'll die or not. Serve the wine, and I'll finish it. If I can't, I'll kneel down and apologize to the Crown Princess. How about that? Ling Xiao said nonchalantly, "Serve the wine." The Crown Princess' mouth twitched. She had really met a freak today. What exactly was this fake Ling Xiao's body made of? How could it be so powerful that even the 5 poisons sacred wine couldn't hurt him? 100 jugs of wine were served. Ling Xiao drank all of them in front of everyone. However, he had only drunk 1 jug. The remaining 99 jugs had been placed in the Mountain River realm. The greedy butterfly lady had drunk all of them. This little girl was a treasure. She was definitely Ling Xiao's lifesaver. Nurturing her well was very important to Ling Xiao. After the 99 jugs of 5 poisons sacred wine, the butterfly lady's body emitted a rainbow-colored radiance and became significantly stronger. Then she fell asleep. Disciple asked for more. This is good wine that will be useful for refining pills in the future. Since it's a treat, it'll be a waste not to accept it. The Yuan Venerate also transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had already had this intention. Another 100 jugs. Ling Xiao said to the Crown Princess, 100 jugs would cost 10 million mid-grade spirit stones. Even the Crown Princess would feel the pinch. She hadn't expected that Ling Xiao would still want more after drinking 100 jugs. This guy was like a bottomless pit that couldn't be filled. Fortunately, news came from the counter that there were only 50 jugs of 5 poison sacred wine left. There wouldn't be any more. The Crown Princess heaved a sigh of relief. She didn't know what kind of monster Ling Xiao was, but she had a premonition that she would really go bankrupt today if she allowed this guy to continue drinking. Ha ha! Brother Ling has really broadened my horizons today. The Crown Princess has given so much away. As the owner of the Wonder Tower, it wouldn't be right if I didn't give something back. Fan Ruohai saw that it was about time, so he smiled and said, "Just now, aside from the 5 poisons sacred wine, the rest of the things that Brother Ling wanted are all on me. At that time, it was my treat." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Fan Ruohai was rarely so friendly to water. Today, not only did he offend the Wind Demon's sacred sword for Ling Xiao, he even wanted to give Ling Xiao expensive wine and delicacies for free. What was the reason for this? Ling Xiao knew very well that Fan Ruohai had probably seen through his identity. That was why he was so insistent on befriending him. In any case, sooner or later, the Fan clan and the Tianhai clan would fight, and there was probably no chance for him to get along with the Tianhai clan. Fan Ruohai wanted to rope him in, and he also needed to rely on Fan Ruohai. This was the best of both worlds. Thank you very much, Mr. Fan. If you need anything in the future, feel free to let me know. Ling Xiao smiled and accepted Fan Ruohai's kindness. "Prepare everything and pack it up for Brother Ling. Let him take it away." Fan Ruohai was also very happy because Ling Xiao did not give face to the crown princess, but gave face to him. This was enough to show that what he had done before was still very useful. He had plenty of money, and as the heir of the richest Fan clan on the White Tiger continent, he was not afraid of spending money. Most importantly, this money had to be spent where it was needed most. Ling Xiao got what he wanted and put it in his storage ring. He thanked Fan Ruohai again and then turned to leave. In this world, there was no hatred without reason, and there was no love without reason. Ling Xiao understood Fan Ruohai's intentions, but he did not dislike it. It was too naive to expect others to give you things for free. Returning to the Tower of Elites, Ling Xiao took out the delicacies he had obtained from the Tower of Wonders and shared them with everyone. Among them, the Ice Dragon wine and Fire Dragon wine were especially for Blue Snow and Hongyu. He had already carefully examined the two girls' bodies, and they were definitely descendants of the dragon race like Longchen. However, Longchen was a descendant of the Golden Dragon, Blue Snow was a descendant of the Frost Dragon, and Hongyu was a descendant of the Scarlet Flame Dragon. The Ice Dragon wine and Fire Dragon wine were prepared to stimulate Blue Snow and Hongyu's dragon race potential to a greater extent. As for the others, they naturally had their own benefits. The things in the Tower of Wonders, whether it was the wine or the delicacies, were extremely beneficial to cultivation. Therefore, after eating and drinking, everyone began to cultivate together. Ling Xiao sat alone on the roof, guarding everyone. He had already drunk hundreds of jars of 5 poisons, sacred wine in the Tower of Wonders today, so eating and drinking would not have much effect. After all, the effects of these wine and food would become weaker and weaker. Fortunately, his cultivation had already broken through, so all he needed to do now was to consolidate it. They spent 2 days in a row like this. During this period, the emperors of the 4 empires met with the sect master of the Jingyi school and raised the request to expand the quota for the main competition. The sect master of the Jingyi school did not object. Speaking of which, it's strange. Our people in Thunderclap City noticed that the changes in the extreme land of Myriad Thunders are even more intense this time. Many of the originally sealed ruins in the extreme land of Myriad Thunders have actually awakened. However, this seat needs to tell you that it's too early to be happy. You can expand the quota, but not too much. Otherwise, not many martial artists from the 4 empires and 1 school will be able to come out alive. The Zhengyi school was the strongest faction on the White Tiger continent, even above the 4 empires. Many of the 4 empires' genius martial artists would eventually join the Zhengyi school. Therefore, they did not wish for their geniuses to fall. This time they reduced the number of participants in the White Tiger meet because they sensed that the extreme land of Myriad Thunders had become even more terrifying and crazy. However, since the people of the 4 empires were unwilling, they would increase the quota. Therefore, in addition to the Jingyi school, each empire increased the quota by 20, making it 30 people. The Tianhai Empire, together with the 5 quotas given to the Dragon Phoenix continent, had a total of 35 people. The Tianhai king did not seem to believe the sect master of the Jingyi school's alarmist words. After returning to the country, he handed the heavy responsibility of selecting the remaining quotas to Prince Wu and Prince Yun. This time, the 2 princes did not go to the affiliated countries to select the participants. Instead, they gave all the quotas to the local martial artists of the Tianhai Empire. Therefore, the 7 small saints of the Tianhai Empire and the other martial artists who were originally not qualified to participate in the White Tiger meet were given another chance. Of course, Ling Xiao had also heard Lu Lian mention this matter, but he did not care. The people who were forcibly added were just cannon fodder. If they had the opportunity, they might be able to gain some benefits. However, if they did not have the opportunity, only death awaited them. On the 3rd day, Ling Xiao stopped cultivating. His cultivation had completely stabilized at the early stage of the 12th level of the Yin Yang realm. This realm gave him even more confidence to head to the dangerous extreme land of myriad thunders. As for the others, their cultivation had also made breakthroughs. In particular, the three descendants of the Dragon Clan, Blue Snow, Hongyu, and Longqin, had improved so quickly that even Ling Xiao felt a little pressured. Chapter 1811. In terms of cultivation base, Blue Snow and Hongyu were currently higher than Ling Xiao. They were originally martial artists at the peak of the 12th level of the Yin Yang realm. Now that they had broken through, their cultivation base had reached the 13th level of the Yin Yang realm. These two girls were only 12 years old. The Dragon Clan was indeed the Dragon Clan. They were crazy. Of course, in terms of ability, they were still no match for Ling Xiao. Even if they joined forces, they were still no match for him. Apart from the two girls, Long Chen's cultivation base had also broken through to the early 11th level of the Yin Yang realm. He had started cultivating late. Otherwise, his cultivation base would probably be on par with the two girls. The others had also broken through. This time, the benefits that Ling Xiao barged into the Wonder Tower and did not hesitate to offend the Crown Princess in exchange for were not wasted. In addition to the remaining energy from the magic crystal liquid, it was normal for everyone's cultivation base to break through again. At this point, Dan Feng finally broke through to the 13th level of the Yin Yang realm. However, it was obvious that Ling Xiao was about to catch up to him. One must know that when they first arrived at the White Tiger mainland, Ling Xiao's cultivation base was only at the 3rd level of the Yin Yang realm. However, he was at the 10th level of the Yin Yang realm. Now, the gap between the two of them was closing. Cold Plum's cultivation base was not slow either. After all, Ling Xiao favored her, so her cultivation base was constantly catching up to Long Chen's. Now, she had also reached the 11th level of the Yin Yang realm. Ji Luoyu and Feng Minglian had both reached the peak of the 10th level of the Yin Yang realm. Mou and Zhu Xiaocong had broken through to the early 10th level of the Yin Yang realm. No one would have thought that Ling Xiao and his companions would have such a huge breakthrough in just 2 days. To Ling Xiao, the stronger his companions were, the higher their chances of survival in the lightning extreme land. It was always difficult for a person to fight alone. Let's go and gather at the arena. After training so hard for so long, it's time to reap the rewards. Ling Xiao stood up with Dan Feng and the others behind him. They walked towards the arena in high spirits. Actually, they were not the only ones. In fact, a large number of martial artists had already started rushing towards the Thunder City 2 days ago. Why? Of course, it was to witness the once-in-a-decade White Tiger Storm meet. Even today, the Heavenly Sea City was still bustling with people, and martial artists were in a hurry. The date of the White Tiger Tempest meet was getting closer and closer. No one wanted to miss such a big event. Hence, they grabbed this last chance and rushed towards Thunder City. In the sky, on the ground, and even on the water, there were all kinds of mounts. Those who didn't know would think that this was a great migration of the 10,000 races. Even those who did not have the qualifications to participate in the White Tiger meet did not want to miss such a grand event. After all, it was a major event that happened once every 10 years. If they missed it, they might not be able to see it again in the future. In the profound world, there were many dangers and one could die any day. Of course, martial artists who dared to go to Thunderclap City, their strength would not be too weak. Watching the show was more important, but his life was even more important. The vicinity of the myriad lightning extreme grounds was already filled with danger, and with a large number of martial artists gathered there, it was inevitable that this place would become the most complicated and chaotic place in the entire White Tiger continent. If he really died, it would be depressing. Of course, it was not only the Heavenly Sea Empire that was like this. The other 3 great empires, as well as the direction of the Genie School, had large numbers of martial artists continuously rushing towards Thunder City. The originally quiet Thunder City had now become the most lively city in the entire White Tiger continent. Next to the Heavenly Sea Empire's imperial family, 35 people stood in an orderly fashion in the huge arena. These 35 people were the final members of the Heavenly Sea Empire participating in the White Tiger meet. In the sky, a huge flywheel ship was docked there, waiting for martial artists to board and set off at any time. The 35 people's eyes were filled with excitement and agitation. Regardless of whether the road ahead was difficult or not, being able to become a participant of the White Tiger meet in the end was a kind of glory in itself. Thunderclap City, they're here. Myriad Lightning Extreme Grounds, they're here. Reporting to Your Highnesses Prince Wu and Prince Yin, the 35 people participating in the White Tiger meet have already gathered. Can we set off? This time, the Heavenly Sea Empire's leaders heading to Thunder City were Prince Wu and Prince Yin. Of course, apart from them, there was also a secret team assisting in the shadows. They were the experts of the Demon Crocodile Guard. However, these people wouldn't show their faces in public. They would only move in the shadows, forever living in the shadows. This was the best way to become the Heavenly Sea Empire's sharpest killing weapon. Your Highness Crown Prince, can we set off? Although Heavenly Sea Tyranny was also present, he didn't show his face. He had already boarded the flywheel ship. Prince Wu and Prince Yin had to ask him whether they should set off. Since everyone is here, let's set off. The voice that came from the flywheel ship wasn't Heavenly Sea Tyranny's, but the Crown Princess. During the second expansion of the quota, she was also selected and became one of the members. He didn't know what the Heavenly Sea Empire's intentions were, but this woman would definitely become an extremely troublesome person. After all, her cultivation wasn't any lower than Sun Lingchan's or Mu Wanchuang's. Board the ship. Prince Wu waved his hand, and the group of young martial artists boarded the flywheel ship. Interestingly, the Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists, led by Ling Xiao, were completely isolated by the Heavenly Sea Empire's martial artists. Only Lu Lian was willing to stay with them. However, this was normal. Although the Heavenly Dynasty was considered a vassal state of the Heavenly Sea Empire by the righteous sect's name, this was a fact. However, Ling Xiao had never admitted to this. In addition, the Heavenly Dynasty had made a fool of the Heavenly Sea Empire during this selection. How could they get along peacefully with the Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists? Of course, Ling Xiao had already predicted this situation. He didn't care at all. After all the young martial artists boarded the ship, the flywheel ship broke through the air with a loud noise. We should set off too. After the young martial artists participating in the White Tiger meet set off, the experts sent by the Heavenly Sea Imperial family, the Fan family, Dragon Phoenix Mountain, and other sects also prepared to set off. Of course, they were going to be spectators. They were also there to escort the young geniuses of their sections. Of course, there were also those with bad intentions. For example, those from Water God Temple and the Heavenly Demon Cult. These people headed to Thunderclap City naturally to seek revenge. And their enemy was Ling Xiao. Of course, the Heavenly Demon Cult might have other motives that outsiders didn't know about. However, Ling Xiao wasn't interested in any of this at the moment. He sat cross-legged on the flywheel ship, looking at the shrinking Heavenly Sea City in the distance. He couldn't help but sigh. The day he'd been waiting for had finally arrived. He had heard of the grand event known as the White Tiger Meet when he was in the Divine Phoenix continent. Many unforeseen events had occurred during this time. However, he had persevered until today. This could be considered a kind of victory. Suddenly, he frowned because a pair of eyes in the crowd were staring at him with venomous hatred. Ling Xiao turned his head to look. It was the sacred sword of Wind Demon. Chapter 1812. The sacred Wind Devil Sword had been rewarded by the Crown Princess at Miracle Tower. After returning, he had also received some magic crystal liquid from Tyranny Tianhai. After 2 days of cultivation, His cultivation had broken through again, reaching the 13th layer of the yin-yang realm. It was no wonder that this fellow was looking at Ling Xiao with killing intent. Previously at Miracle Tower, this guy had been humiliated by Ling Xiao. Now that this guy had broken through, he was starting to act arrogant again. I hope you don't seek death. Ling Xiao only glanced at the sacred wind devil's sword indifferently, then ignored him. The sacred wind devil's sword wasn't the only one whose cultivation had increased. Now, this person was no longer in his eyes. In the clear blue sky, a huge flywheel ship was speeding towards the direction of Thunderclap City, leaving behind a terrifying whistling sound. It was like thunder. When the spectators who were also heading to Thunderclap City saw this flywheel ship, they couldn't help but feel envious. This flywheel ship could be said to be the place where the strongest geniuses of the Tianhai Empire under the age of 30 gathered. Although the number of spots had increased from 15 to 35, causing the average level of these geniuses to drop by quite a bit. However, for the majority of martial artists, they were still unattainable geniuses, each with astonishing talent. According to the speed of this flywheel ship, it would take about 3 days to travel from Tianhai City to Thunderclap City. If one were to ride a normal flying mount, it would probably take more than 10 days. This was enough to show how fast this flywheel ship was. The flywheel ship was protected by a special protective wall, so the martial artists inside wouldn't be affected by the astral winds. However, there were also those who liked to torture themselves. They directly jumped out of the protective wall and sat on top of the flywheel ship, enduring the baptism of the astral winds and tempering their bodies. For example, Ling Xiao stayed inside the protective wall for a while before he couldn't bear it anymore. He directly jumped into the air and stood outside the protective wall, allowing the terrifying astral winds to hit him. However, he was able to remain completely motionless. Even though the astral winds were like knives, they couldn't even cut through his clothes. That guy's body is really frighteningly rough. Almost no one on the ship didn't recognize Ling Xiao. In their eyes, this fake Ling Xiao was a monster who cultivated a body refining martial art. His rough body was truly frightening. This was especially true for those who had been on the top floor of the marvelous view tower that day. They were already used to this. This guy drank more than 200 jugs of 5 poison sacred wine and was still fine. If he wasn't a monster, what was he? Some people even suspected that this guy was a beast in human form. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure flew up from the deck and stood on the roof of the ship beside Ling Xiao. This person was none other than Sacred Wind Devil Sword. He coldly glanced at Ling Xiao. The corners of his mouth curled into a sneer, and his eyes revealed a dense killing intent. As Wind Devil, Sword God Wind Devil Sword, Ling Wind Devil Sword. Maybe he didn't care, or perhaps he was eager for the sacred sword of Wind Fiend to attack, so that he could have a chance to defend himself. Pretentious guy. Today, I'll definitely tear off this fake skin on your face and see if you're the real Ling Xiao. Sacred Wind Devil Sword snorted. Then he unsheathed his sword, his killing intent soaring. Dan Feng and the others noticed this and stood up one after another. However, in that instant they were surrounded by the Tianhai Empire's martial artists. Your Highnesses Prince Wu and Prince Yin. Someone wants to attack the martial artists participating in the White Tiger meet. Are you planning to pretend to be blind? Dan Feng looked coldly in the direction of the ship's hold and said loudly. There was no sound from inside. Dan Feng couldn't help but sneer. It looked like Prince Wu and Prince Yin really didn't plan on interfering. Since that was the case, it was actually a good thing. He looked at Ling Xiao and asked, Brother Ling, do you need help? If I can't even deal with a dog, am I worthy of the name Ling Xiao? All you need to do is protect yourselves. Ling Xiao still didn't look back. It was as if Sacred Wind Devil Sword was a barking husky. Ha ha ha, you've got guts. Do you believe that even if I kill you today, no one will stand up for you? Sacred wind, devil, sword sneered. Ling Xiao still didn't look at him, but this time he opened his mouth. What does it matter if I believe it or not? You can try and see if you'll die like water god. Arrogant. Sacred wind, devil, sword, swords, eyes narrowed and then suddenly widened. What a bold brat, facing his sacred wind, devil, sword, and one that had broken through. He wasn't afraid at all, and he even wanted to threaten him. Now, on this ship, the people of the Tianhai Empire were the ones in charge. Unlike in Tianhai City, there were many foreign forces. If they openly attacked the martial artists of the Tianhai Empire, it would be embarrassing. Here, even if he killed Ling Xiao and the martial artists of the Tianhai Empire, it could be said that it was an accident. As for the people participating in the White Tiger meet, the martial artists of the Tianhai Empire could replace them. There were a lot of people like that. You think I don't dare to kill you, so you're so sure. Unfortunately, you're too naive. Sacred wind, devil, sword, suddenly attacked. The sharp long sword in his hand directly pierced towards Ling Xiao's back. The sacred sword flashed with a dazzling white light. Whoosh! At that moment, Ling Xiao's figure flashed. An afterimage appeared where he was standing. The sacred sword pierced through the afterimage, and the remaining force hit the protective wall. A few yuan qi flowers splashed out, but it didn't cause any damage. This protective wall was quite strong. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to protect so many Yin-Yang realm martial artists. They're attacking. Look, the people on the ship were already bored. Seeing sacred wind devil sword suddenly attack, they were all very excited. They didn't care whether this battle followed the rules or not. As long as they could relieve their boredom, that was enough. The curtains of a certain window on the ship were pulled open. Sitting inside were Tianhai Tyranny, the crown princess, and several seemingly powerful bodyguards. You told him to attack. Tianhai Tyranny asked indifferently. Yes, that Ling Xiao made a fool of me at the Miracle Tower. If I don't kill him, I won't be happy. The crown princess said coldly, Sacred wind, devil, sword can't kill him. Instead, he'll die. Tyranny Heavenly Ocean shook the exquisite bronze Jew in his hand, sniffed the wine, and then said, You think so highly of this person? The crown princess asked, Whether or not I think highly of him, this person is very strong. This crown prince's intuition has never been wrong. Tianhai Tyranny drank the wine in his Jew in one gulp. Although this person isn't at your level, killing Sacred Wind Devil Sword isn't difficult. You should prepare early. Sacred Wind Devil Sword might be trash, but in the myriad lightning extreme ground, there are a lot of cannon fodder like him. He can't die yet. Chapter 1813. Your movement technique is not bad. Today, let me teach you how to behave. The sacred sword of Wind Demon sneered and stabbed at Ling Xiao with a sacred sword again. This time it was faster and from a more tricky angle. He had obviously made a huge breakthrough in his strength. Whether it was the mastery of swordsmanship or the control of his movement, they had all improved. Otherwise, he would not have dared to challenge Ling Xiao. Teach me a lesson? I'm afraid you'll play yourself to death. Ling Xiao sneered. He could tell that no one would come to stop this battle today. At least no one would come out when the sacred sword of Wind Demon had the upper hand. If that was the case, he could only fight. After breaking through to the 12th level of the Yin-Yang realm, he felt that there was no need for him to continue using this fake face. Moreover, he had given the butterfly lady the 99 jars of 5 poison sacred wine. Her strength had obviously broken through again. With the butterfly lady around, he was not even afraid of a rebirth realm martial artist. What was there to be afraid of? Therefore, he suddenly sneered, and the divine light sword hung above his head. His body instantly changed, and he returned to his original appearance. Ling Xiao! He's really Ling Xiao. This guy. As soon as he recovered, all the cultivators on the airship were shocked. Although Ling Xiao had already admitted his identity that day, no one believed him at that time, thinking that he was just an imposter. However, it was different today. Ling Xiao had revealed his true appearance. As long as one was not blind, they would recognize him, especially the divine light sword, which was Ling Xiao's signature move. You're really Ling Xiao. The sacred sword of the wind demon was also stunned for a moment. Then he laughed maniacally. You are the real Ling Xiao. That's even better. The grudge between me and you is much greater than the one between me and the fake Ling Xiao. I told you that I'm Ling Xiao. You just didn't believe me. Ling Xiao shrugged and said, Originally, I just wanted to avoid some trouble and play around. But I didn't expect that after changing my appearance, you would still find trouble with me. Since that's the case, I might as well return to my original appearance. This is even more comfortable. He had thought it through. Unless he was a coward and didn't get involved in anything, it might save him a lot of trouble. But to him, was that even possible? How could he not attend the white tiger meet? Could he remain indifferent in the face of humiliation? How could he watch his friends being bullied and not care? That was impossible. That was not his personality at all. So after thinking about it, what difference would it make if he changed his face? The trouble would still be endless, and it would make him look like a coward. It was better to face people with their true faces. Whoever wanted to cause trouble for him, just come. He wanted to let these people know the consequences of offending him, Ling Xiao. Just like in the divine Phoenix continent, he would make those who hated him feel incomparable fear and make them take a detour when they saw him. That would be true domineering. On the path of martial arts, one could not admit defeat. Occasionally, cleverness could be used, but if one did not dare to face difficulties head-on, then the path of martial arts would be blocked. You have guts, but for you, this won't do you any good. The sacred sword of wind demon sneered, and the long sword moved even faster. On the sword blade, the white sword chi was more than 10 meters long and 1 meter wide, and it wanted to kill Ling Xiao on the spot. Your sword is not bad, but in front of me, it's just a piece of scrap metal. Ling Xiao sneered. The divine light sword in his hand trembled, and a terrifying and dazzling light was immediately released, much more dazzling than the white light. In the sky, the power of the red sun was injected into the divine light sword, causing a red flame to burn on the sword blade. The terrifyingly high temperature instantly heated up the cold astral wind. Many practitioners who were originally cultivating outside the protective wall had no choice but to hide on the deck. As the saying goes, when the city gate is on fire, the fish in the moat suffer. They did not want to be implicated. One was the sacred sword of wind demon of heavenly sea's 4 prodigies, and the other was Ling Xiao, who did not even fear the 4 prodigies. No matter which one it was, they could not afford to provoke them. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation was not high, he was able to kill and defeat Prince Charming. This was enough to show his strength. There were still quite a number of people who knew their place and knew their place. Break. The divine light sword was not aimed at the sacred sword of wind demon, but at the sacred sword in his hand. This sacred sword could be considered the sword that made the sacred sword of wind demon famous. Ling Xiao wanted to destroy this thing first, and then slowly torture this grandson. He wanted to kill the sacred sword of wind demon, but presumably, tyranny of heavenly seas, the crown princess, and the hidden demon crocodile guards would not allow it. So, slowly torturing him was the better choice. Crack! There was a crisp sound in the sky, and many cracks appeared on the sacred sword of wind demon's long sword. And then it completely shattered. Pa! What Ling Xiao wanted to do was not over yet. A crisp slap sounded in the void. His hand fiercely slapped the sacred sword of wind demon's face. You! Pa! Another slap sounded. What about me? Didn't you want to teach me how to be a person? Now, I want to teach you how to be a person. Kneel. Ling Xiao coldly stared at the sacred sword of Wind Demon. Bastard! How could the sacred sword of Wind Demon kneel? He was one of the 4 prodigies of heavenly seas. Although he was ranked last, how could he endure being humiliated by a mere martial artist from the Dragon Phoenix continent? He was furious and tried to fight back. However, another slap. The sacred sword of Wind Demon was hit until he was dizzy. His head was buzzing, and he was a little dazed. In the mystic world, the strong are respected. If you can beat me, you can be arrogant, but you're just a piece of trash. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? You're asking for a beating. As Ling Xiao spoke, he continuously slapped the sacred sword of Wind Demon more than a dozen times. The sacred sword of Wind Demon's face was so swollen that it looked like a cake. Did you hear that? Kneel and apologize, or I'll keep slapping. Although the rules say that I can't kill you, they didn't say that I can't hit you. I wonder if you'll cry directly after your handsome face is completely deformed? Ling Xiao looked at the sacred sword of Wind Demon with a faint smile, but the corner of his eyes glanced at the cabin of the airship. There, a murderous aura locked onto him. Although she had not made a move yet, it was obvious that she could no longer hold back. That person was none other than the Crown Princess. Ling Xiao had humiliated the Crown Princess time and time again, from almost killing Shangguan Qing'er at the Medicine King Pavilion, to the gifting of wine in the Wonder Tower, and today, the sacred sword of Wind Demon was beaten into a pig's head. The sacred sword of Wind Demon was a dog raised by the Crown Princess. As the saying went, one had to look at the owner before beating a dog. Ling Xiao was hitting the sacred sword of Wind Demon, but he was slapping the Crown Princess's face. Everyone on the airship looked at this scene with their mouths agape. They all thought that they were hallucinating. The sacred sword of Wind Demon, one of the 4 prodigies of heavenly seas, was being humiliated like this without any resistance. No one would believe it, even if he told them about it. Chapter 1814. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to have grown to such a level. He was probably the most terrifying person after Tianhai tyrannical ambition, Sun Lingchan, and Mu Wanchuang. Among the crowd, there was one person who was trembling. He was filled with hatred for Ling Xiao. This person had appeared in Miracle Tower before. He should be a relative or friend of the black-clothed woman. He was also present when Ling Xiao killed the black-clothed woman, even though the black-clothed woman was courting death. However, this person didn't care about that. He only knew that Ling Xiao had killed his relative, so he wanted to take revenge on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, this isn't a good place to fight. However, once we enter Myriad Thunder Extreme Ground, Aoi Fei will definitely kill you. In Aoi Fei's opinion, although Ling Xiao could defeat Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil, he wasn't his opponent. Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil's cultivation wasn't low, but he used it poorly and underestimated his opponent too much. That was why he was in such a state today. However, he wouldn't make the same mistake. Enough. No matter what, Sacred Sword of the Wind Devil is also a comrade of the White Tiger meat. You're too heavy-handed. At this moment, Prince Wu, who had been hiding in his room, finally came out. He looked coldly at Ling Xiao and said loudly, "Pa." What answered him was another slap. Who do you think you are? A mere 12th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist dares to be impudent in front of me. Moreover, when he wanted to kill me, you pretended to be stupid and didn't come out. Now you're meddling in other people's business. Do you want to die? Before Prince Wu could speak, Ling Xiao's voice sounded again. He didn't put Prince Wu in his eyes at all. He could kill Prince Wu with just a finger. Yet Prince Wu dared to be impudent in front of him. In this world, it didn't matter whether one was a ruler or a minister. Only strength was important. Prince Wu was a senior of Tianhai tyrannical ambition. His cultivation wasn't as high as Tianhai tyrannical ambitions, so he had to be respectful to his juniors like a grandson. You. Prince Wu was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, he had to admit that he couldn't refute Ling Xiao's words. Just a moment ago, he did not care about the matter. Now that he suddenly intervened, there was something wrong with him. In addition, his cultivation was not strong enough, so he could not intimidate Ling Xiao. What about me? If you don't go back, I'll beat you up too. Ling Xiao would never forget how Wu Qinhuang had tried to use his friends as a shield in the underground world. He would take revenge for that sooner or later. So now, he wouldn't give the Wu Prince any face. Big brother, you are indeed not being fair in this matter. Since we don't care, then don't care. As long as no one dies, they are just playing around. What's the big deal? At this moment, Prince Yin also spoke. This person had been drugged by Ling Xiao and had long become Ling Xiao's spy. Under such circumstances, no one would doubt him if he said something fair. Why are you speaking up for him? Prince Wu's cultivation was not as high as Prince Yin's, so he did not dare to reprimand Prince Yin loudly. All right. Big brother, let's go back and rest. Someone will take care of this. Prince Yin directly dragged Prince Wu back. Although Prince Wu was furious, he knew that he could not do anything to Ling Xiao, so he could only endure it. Thus, he went back to drink to drown his sorrows. Trash! In the cabin, the crown princess finally couldn't hold back and rushed out. Ling Xiao, let him go. The crown princess shouted. Why? Don't tell me he's your gigolo? Ling Xiao chuckled. You! How dare you frame me? The crown princess' expression was very ugly. This Ling Xiao was truly too bold. She had already stepped in, but he still dared to be so impudent. Frame? Ha ha! Since he's not your gigolo, why are you defending him again and again? Ling Xiao asked with a grin. Get your facts straight. I am only considering the overall situation of the Tianhai Empire. I don't want to lose a general before participating in the White Tiger meet. The crown prince consort took a deep breath to calm down her furious emotions. She already knew that Ling Xiao's mouth was as sharp as a knife. No one would benefit from bickering with him. Ha. What a high-sounding reason. Then where were you enjoying yourself when he was about to kill me? Ling Xiao laughed loudly, clearly not taking the crown princess seriously at all. Moreover, he was the one in the right no matter what. What do you want? The crown princess could tell that Ling Xiao was someone who could be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. If she continued to force him to obey, it would not help at all. On the contrary, she might even enrage him. It's very simple. Make him kneel and apologize to me, and I'll let him go. Ling Xiao knew that if he killed Wind Fiend, the sacred sword would go from being in the right to being unreasonable. He would not do that. Even if he wanted to kill him, he would have to wait until they entered the isolated place of 10,000 thunders. He's one of the 4 heroes of Tianhai. If he kneels to you, he'll be disgracing the Tianhai Empire. Your request is too much. The crown princess frowned. Too much? He's just one of the 4 heroes of Tianhai. Is it wrong for him to kneel to His Majesty, the Heavenly Emperor? Ling Xiao said disdainfully, If he doesn't want to kneel, then so be it. I'll have some fun on this trip. After saying this, Ling Xiao slapped Wind Fiend Sacred Sword's face again. The strength of this slap was very well controlled. It was not enough to kill the opponent, but it was enough to make the opponent feel incomparable pain. Troublesome. Suddenly, a voice came from the cabin. Then, a giant hand reached out from the void and grabbed Wind Fiend Sacred Sword right in front of Ling Xiao. Tyranny Heavenly Seas. Ling Xiao narrowed his eyes, but did not make a move. Tyranny Heavenly Seas' strength was unfathomable. The current him was definitely not the opponent's match, and he did not want to expose his trump card here, so he did not make a move. His Highness Crown Prince is indeed powerful. That Ling Xiao doesn't even dare to make a sound. Duh! His Highness Crown Prince's strength is one of the best in the entire White Tiger continent. I'm afraid only Jingyi School's Feng Fei can compete with him. That Ling Xiao isn't even worth mentioning in front of him. That's right, that's right. Ling Xiao might be strong, but he still has to kneel when he sees his Highness Crown Prince. Ling Xiao, just you wait. At the White Tiger meet, I'll make you pay the price. You'll die a miserable death. Suddenly, Wind Fiend Sacred Sword's roars came from the cabin. Just then, he had been suppressed by Ling Xiao and had no chance to speak. Now that he was venting, his voice was loud and clear. Ling Xiao's lips quirked up in a cold smile. Today, the Crown Princess and His Highness Crown Prince are protecting you. Indeed, I can't touch you, but can they protect you forever? You're asking to be humiliated. At the White Tiger meet, you better hide in Tyranny Heavenly Sea's embrace, or else I'll definitely kill you. His voice was cold and domineering, not restrained in the slightest because Tyranny Heavenly Seas was on the ship. Chapter 1815. Ling Xiao's words made everyone's heart tremble. This Ling Xiao was too arrogant. He wanted to kill someone protected by the Crown Prince. If you dare kill him, this Crown Prince will make your heavenly empire disappear from the mystic world. Tyranny Heavenly Ocean's tyrannical voice came from the cabin, carrying a powerful aura of submit to me and prosper, oppose me and perish. Everyone thought that Ling Xiao wouldn't dare to say anything now. Although he could defeat Sacred Sword in front of Tyranny Heavenly Ocean, Ling Xiao had no chance. Is that so? You're not afraid that Heavenly Ocean Empire will disappear from the White Tiger continent because of Sacred Sword? Ling Xiao's voice was very calm and indifferent, but it was still filled with power. What? Everyone was shocked. This Ling Xiao was too daring. He actually dared to talk back? You have guts. However, people with guts often die faster. Tyranny Heavenly Ocean's voice became cold. In the White Tiger continent, no one had ever dared to speak to him like this. Not even the people of the 4 great empires or righteous sect dared. Then you can try. Ling Xiao said tit for tat. For a piece of trash, is it worth it to go against me? Good, very good. I hope you can come out of the land of 10,000 thunders alive. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the destruction of Heavenly Ocean Empire. Tyranny Heavenly Ocean didn't plan to make a move yet. He knew that Ling Xiao was very strong. Although he wasn't afraid of Ling Xiao and could even be said to be disdainful of him, Ling Xiao was still an important fighting force for the Tianhai Empire. After Ling Xiao helped Heavenly Ocean Empire destroy a few more competitors, he would personally end him. I'll wait for you to kill me. However, Sacred Sword of Wind Demon must die. After saying this, Ling Xiao closed his eyes and continued to temper his body. He admitted that he wasn't Tyranny Heavenly Ocean's opponent yet, but if they really fought, he definitely wouldn't let Tyranny Heavenly Ocean have an easy time. This was the source of his confidence. Tyranny Heavenly Ocean was unwilling to fight him for this reason. After that, nothing special happened along the way. The airship sped up towards Thunder City. Thunder City was actually not a big deal. This city was smaller than any other city. Only some researchers of the Jingyi School lived here. The White Tiger Tempest Meets true competition venue was inside the 10,000 Lightning Extreme Land. The Extreme Land of 10,000 Lightnings was a naturally formed and terrifying place. It was extremely vast and had a long history. It was said that when this place was born, the mystic world was still an entire continent, and the sacred dynasty still ruled the entire world. Under normal circumstances, the extreme lightning ground was filled with lightning and thunder. No one could pass through it. Even rebirth state experts could not withstand the terrifying lightning and fire. Only at a certain time every 10 years would a hole open up in the extreme thunderground for martial artists to enter. From then on, countless warriors knew about the grand occasion inside the myriad Thunder Extreme Place. It could be said that spirit stones and treasures were everywhere. It was definitely a holy land for adventuring. However, such a place was filled with extreme evil. The deeper one went, the greater the possibility of death. What was even stranger was that this myriad Thunder Extreme ground only allowed martial artists under the age of 30 to enter. This was also the reason why the White Tiger Tempest meet had always stipulated that only martial artists under the age of 30 could participate. At this time, there were already many camps outside Thunder City. They were martial artists from all over the White Tiger continent. Some of them came to participate in the competition, while others came to watch the fun. There were also some with evil intentions. They did not believe in the so-called 30-year-old limit and wanted to take the opportunity to sneak in and fight for the treasures. In short, no matter what kind of people they were, they had all gathered here during this period of time. Thunder City was too small to accommodate so many people. Fortunately, the extreme land of 10,000 lightnings was surrounded by plains. As long as they set up camp, they could stay here again. Even half a month ago, organizations such as the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company, the Fan Family, and the Medicine King Pavilion had opened their own mobile stores here, transporting a large amount of living materials and elixirs. This caused this place to become a super city without walls. The area it occupied was probably 10 times larger than Sky Sea City. Suddenly, the sound of birds chirping came from the sky. Giant rocks that blotted out the sky descended from the sky and landed in the area that had been marked out long ago. The people who were talking on the ground looked up at the sky, their faces brimming with excitement. After waiting for so many days, I finally see an empire-level mount. I wonder which empire this bird is from. It's so powerful. Many martial artists who came to watch the fun had arrived here in advance. After all, their mounts were not good enough. If they came late, they were afraid that something would happen on the way and they would miss it. Let's go and watch the fun. That's where the 4 great empires and the Genie School are. The martial artists participating in the competition will probably set up camp here. Someone called out, and several figures rose into the sky and headed in the same direction. All the participants naturally had their own special status. Therefore, the area they were had been marked out long ago. After all, this was the White Tiger Tempest meet, a grand event for the entire White Tiger continent. If they could not even do this, then the 4 great empires and the Genie School would not be able to live anymore. Everyone was very curious about the abilities of the young geniuses who came to participate in the White Tiger Tempest meet this time and what surprises they could bring. That bird rider should be someone from the Yueling Empire, right? Ling Xiao was still standing on the flywheel ship. When he saw the huge bird that had just landed, he looked down at Ji Luoyu and asked, "That should be right." Ji Luoyu nodded. She had traveled all over the White Tiger continent and naturally understood the situation of each empire. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. He had finally arrived at the extreme Thunderbolt Place. His opponents had also arrived. This grand stage would become another stepping stone for him to reach the peak. From the sky, one could see that the Thunderclap City was built like a fortress. On top of the huge fortress, there was a high platform that was 20 to 30 meters high. The high platform was circular and surrounded by a protective wall. Even the bottom was transparent. This should be the initial battlefield of the White Tiger Tempest meet. He did not know the specific rules of the White Tiger Tempest meet, but he believed that this high platform would definitely become the center of the battle. Such a high place was simply too eye-catching. There were also 8 huge crystal screens located in 8 directions of the high platform. The huge screens would probably also show the battle scenes at the same time for the audience to watch from a distance. Some slow-motion replays of the details would also be played on the screens. This was a high-end product from the Shinji continent and was very expensive. The White Tiger continent was also rich. They even bought this. Looking at the extreme thunderbolt place, it covered an unknown area. In any case, there was no end in sight. Thunderclaps continued to fall all around. There was only one place where there was a 10-meter tall and 5-meter wide crack. There was a gate at the crack. It was probably made by the people of the Jingyi school. Chapter 1816. Ling Xiao discovered that the crack in the myriad thunderbolts' extreme ground constantly emitted an ancient and boundless aura. It was actually somewhat similar to his tyrannical martial soul. What a good place! Ling Xiao had a feeling that the myriad thunderbolts' extreme ground would become his second place to rise. Of course, the premise was that he didn't die. If he died, then there would be nothing left. The airship began to descending towards the area demarcated by the Sky Sea Empire. Many people on the ship revealed excited expressions. This place was a place that countless young geniuses yearned for even in their dreams. To them, if they wanted to prove their strength, they had to come here. If they wanted to truly transform from a genius to a powerhouse, the myriad thunderbolts' extreme ground was also the best place to break out of the cocoon and become a butterfly. How could they not be excited? As the airship landed, the huge bird on the ground suddenly raised its head to the sky and screeched. A terrifying gust of wind blew, directly rushing towards the airship. Everyone hurriedly stabilized themselves, afraid that they would be blown over by the gust. The people who had been waiting outside the protective wall also returned to the deck, afraid that they would be affected by the gust. However, Ling Xiao still stood there, indifferently looking at the strong gust of wind. It wasn't that he was powerful, but that he believed that the Sky Sea Empire's airship was definitely not simple. They would definitely have a way to deal with such a method of greeting. At this moment, the bottom of the airship actually opened, and a black cannon barrel poked out. Rumble! The array cannon used spirit stones as a source of energy and blasted out. It collided with the gust of wind in the sky and dissipated. Ha ha ha! The Sky Sea Empire's Sky Sea flywheel really lives up to its reputation. Amazing, truly amazing. Amidst the laughter, a middle-aged man on the bird looked at the steadily descending airship and said loudly, he should be the leader of the other side. Full Moon Empire, don't you think your methods are too much? Wu Qinhuang and Yun Qinhuang walked out at the same time and coldly looked at the person opposite them. Ha ha ha, it's just a joke. Why take it to heart? Your Sky Sea Empire can't even take this kind of joke, right? That person laughed heartily. Rumble. Just as that person's voice fell, a loud sound suddenly rang out. The huge bird didn't even have time to scream before its entire neck was cut off. What are you doing? The people from the Yulang Empire coldly looked at Ling Xiao, who was standing on the airship, and shouted harshly. I'm just kidding. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, Why bother? That person was stunned for a moment, but he couldn't say anything. When he attacked others, it was said to be a joke. The others were also just attacking. It was just that the speed of the attack was too fast, and they were at a disadvantage. Others also said that it was a joke, so what else could he say? Good, not bad at all. The geniuses of the Tianhai Empire are really amazing. That person glanced at the bird that was killed. This bird's strength was equivalent to a 10th level yin-yang realm martial artist, but it was killed so easily. It was enough to show how terrifying the person who killed it was. In any case, he was definitely no match for him. The geniuses of the Yulang Empire are not bad. Although Prince Wu and Prince Yun had some enmity between them, Ling Xiao had indeed helped them vent their anger this time. At this time, they naturally wouldn't blame Ling Xiao. You are the Wind Devil's sacred sword. The leader of the Yulang Empire suddenly asked. In his opinion, only the 4 heroes of the Tianhai Empire could do such a thing. He had seen Tianhai tyranny before. Sun Lingchan and Muwan Shuang were both women, so this person could only be the Wind Devil's sacred sword. Hee hee, you flatter me. I'm just an insignificant person. How could I dare to compare myself to the 4 heroes of the Tianhai Empire? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The reason why he attacked was because the other party attacked. There was no other reason. He didn't like people who attacked him suddenly, and it was obvious that they used strength that was enough to kill him. Therefore, he had to fight back. As for other things, he didn't think too much about it. What? Hearing Ling Xiao's words, that person's face darkened. The one who attacked wasn't the Wind Devil's sacred sword? Then how strong were the 4 heroes of the Tianhai Empire? I wonder if the crown prince of the Tianhai Empire, Tianhai Tyranny, is on the ship. How about you come out for a chat? Is the little guy from the heavenly demon cult here as well? At this moment, a person jumped down from the bird. Then, with a wave of his hand, the bird instantly turned into dust and disappeared. He was stronger than the leader, and he was filled with a wild aura. His eyes were like a demonic wolf that was ready to hunt at any time. Hearing this person's words, everyone started to discuss. Crown Prince Tianhai Tyranny being mentioned was fine. After all, he was one of the strongest in the White Tiger continent. However, what was going on with that little guy? He was just the weakest of the 7 little saints of the Tianhai Empire. He was just an 8-year-old child. What did he do to deserve to be called out by the other party? However, Ling Xiao frowned slightly. This was because his Taiji I told him that Xiao Budian was definitely not as simple as he seemed on the surface. Previously, he was only suspicious, but now it seemed that his guess was not wrong. Xiao Budian must have done something earth-shattering outside. Otherwise, it would be impossible for such a strong warrior to be interested in him. In Ling Xiao's opinion, the person who asked was definitely an expert on the same level as Tianhai Tyranny. He wasn't his opponent, at least not now. No wonder the other party didn't put him in his eyes. Maybe he thought he was just a piece of trash who liked to show off. This was good too. With this kind of impression, the other party would probably underestimate him. His Highness, the Crown Prince, is resting in the cabin. It's inconvenient to disturb him, but the little guy is here. The martial prince glanced at Xiao Budian standing there and said with a smile. The little guy walked up at this moment and looked at that person with a smile. TSK, I didn't expect the Heavenly Wolf Prince and Silver Wolf Princess to be here. How rare, how rare. Heavenly Wolf Prince, Silver Wolf Princess. Hearing the little guy's words, everyone's heart trembled. At the same time, they looked at the 2 people in the Full Moon Empire. Maybe Ling Xiao wasn't familiar with these 2, but the warriors of the Tianhai Empire were too familiar with them. On the battlefield, the Heavenly Wolf Prince and Silver Wolf Princess were practically the nightmare of the Tianhai Empire army. The 2 of them had always traveled together and had long since become cultivation partners. One was tall and sturdy with a cold personality. The other was beautiful and charming with a calm personality. Both of their auras were extraordinary. No one dared to underestimate them. Since you're here, of course we're here. The Silver Fox Empire's 9-tailed fox Fairy Qingqiu and Crimson Fox Lihua, as well as the White Tiger Empire's Violent Tiger Lei Mang, Heavenly Thunder Tiger Lei Lai, and Big Stomach Tiger Lei Tun will probably not be absent. The Heavenly Wolf Prince said indifferently, compared to them, I'm more concerned about those 3 guys from Jingyi School. Xiao Budian smiled and said, obviously in his eyes Jingyi School was more terrifying. Chapter 1817. You're talking about strangers don't approach Feng Fei, 100-eyed demon Lord Wulong, and blind girl Zue Linglong, right? The Heavenly Wolf Prince knitted his brows. Do you think those 3 are stronger than the 9 of us? That's not it. It's just that those 3 are the focus of Jingyi School's cultivation. What do you think will happen if we defeat them? The little guy said with a grin. Everyone listened to the conversation between the little guy and the Heavenly Wolf Prince. It was obvious that the 4 empires and Jingyi School had 12 people in total who were favored. And these 12 people were very likely to become the top 12 martial artists in the end. This was based on the past decade's achievements, influence, and evaluation of the younger martial artists under the age of 30. The Heavenly Wolf Prince and the little guy's words couldn't be without reason. Anyone they thought highly of couldn't be weak. The distribution of these 12 people was very interesting. The strongest were the 3 from the White Tiger Empire. The only sect on the continent had 3 from Jingyi school. The other 3 empires had 2 each. This showed the strength of each faction in the younger generation. If the people they're talking about are all on the same level as the Heavenly Wolf Prince, then what are we fighting for? We can forget about getting into the top 12. The Heavenly Wolf Prince and the little guy's words discouraged many of the young geniuses. Every empire had their own benchmark martial artists. For example, the Tianhai Empire's martial artists used Tianhai tyranny as their benchmark. The other 11 were all on the same level as Tianhai tyranny. Naturally, the Tianhai Empire's martial artists were discouraged. Actually, it wasn't just them. The Full Moon Empire's young martial artists had similar worries. There was no way to fight for the top 12. If they wanted to, they could only fight for the rankings after the 12th. That seemed a little cruel. After all, the martial artists who came here all wanted to get a better ranking. Of course, most of them thought so, but there were a few arrogant ones who didn't think so. So what if they were on the same level? Even among these 12 people, there were strong and weak ones. They couldn't defeat the strongest, but could they really defeat the weakest? Opportunities were always given to those who were prepared. If they didn't prepare for this, then what was the point of talking about the White Tiger meet? It was better to just admit defeat, especially Sun Lingchan and Mu Wanchuang, who were considered second-tier young geniuses. They were very confident. Let's meet again at the White Tiger Storm Gathering. Yulang Empire, start setting up camp. The Heavenly Wolf young master took one last deep look at the cabin. From start to finish, Tyranny Heavenly Seas never appeared. They clearly didn't put him in their eyes. However, he didn't dare to say anything. Although they were both first-grade martial artists. However, Heavenly Ocean Tyranny was a troublesome opponent. They couldn't be careless. You guys go down and set up camp. From now on, the airship belongs to His Highness the Crown Prince's private property. No one else is allowed to enter. At this moment, the Prince of Wu glanced at the participants of the Tianhai Empire and said indifferently, "This place belonged to the Tianhai imperial family in the first place. They could let whoever they wanted live here, and no one else had anything to say about it." Ling Xiao didn't care about this matter. He jumped off the airship with his men and prepared to set up the camp. Due to the development of storage rings and mechanisms, there were actually many outstanding mobile residences in the mystic world. Especially on the Shinji continent, one could even see large amounts of warships flying in the sky. They were definitely more outstanding than the airships of the Tianhai Empire. There were also large-scale puppet armors that could greatly increase a martial artist's strength. However, the Shinji continent was too far away from the White Tiger continent. There weren't many technologies that could be spread here. After all, many of these technologies were strictly sealed. Of course, on the Sky Dragon continent, there were the Blue Eyes race that were proficient in mechanisms and puppetry. Because of this advantage, Ling Xiao had also obtained a few mechanical puppets. For him, even if he was in the wilderness, setting up a comfortable residence wasn't a problem at all. "Brother Ling, why don't you stay with us in our mobile Wonder Tower?" Just as Ling Xiao was about to disembark, a voice sounded out. Ling Xiao raised his head. It was actually Fan Ruohai. The so-called mobile Wonder Tower was exactly the same as the Wonder Tower. However, it only had 9 floors, so it was slightly smaller. Moreover, it could move on its own, and its speed wasn't slow either. The Fan family had directly moved the mobile Wonder Tower to the territory of the Tianhai Empire. Of course, Fan Ruohai had come here for Mu Wanchuang and Fan Roland. He, Ling Xiao, was just incidental. Glancing at Mu Wanchuang and Fan Roland, Ling Xiao smiled and said, Thank you for your kindness, young Master Fan. However, we already have a residence. He felt that it was better for his own people to live in their own place. Living together would be more reliable. This way, it would be more convenient for them to communicate and cultivate. If they lived in someone else's place, it would feel somewhat inappropriate. That's good too. If there's anything, just let me know. Wan Shuang, second brother, let's go. Fan Ruohai called out to Mu Wan Shuang and his younger brother, and they headed towards the mobile Wonder Tower. Brotherling Lien, They had just taken 2 steps when a voice came from the crowd. Ling Xiao and Lu Lien turned to look. They saw Lu Cheng's figure in the crowd. Of course, Lu Qing couldn't compare to Fan Ruohai. He didn't have the right to enter this specially designated area, but he could still cheer for Lu Lien and Ling Xiao from the periphery. After all, this was the once-in-a-decade white tiger meet. And for his daughter, this was an opportunity that she had lost and regained. It was worth cherishing. Father, I'll do my best to get a place. Lu Lien nodded at Lu Qing and smiled. Ling Chan, don't disappoint me. On the other side, the Medicine King's son, Bu, also appeared. He was Sun Lingchan's father, the Medicine King of the White Tiger Continent, and the owner of the Medicine King's Pavilion. As soon as he appeared, no one stopped him. He casually boarded the flywheel ship. To Sun Bu, Sun Lingchan was his glory. He absolutely hoped that Sun Lingchan could achieve outstanding results in this White Tiger meet. Luoyu, just work hard. I don't expect you to achieve great results, but you must not let anything happen. Ji Qing also appeared. When he appeared, he was instantly beside Ji Luoyu. Other than Ling Xiao, who made a defensive move, the others didn't react at all. Brat, you're not bad. You actually noticed my movements and predicted my direction. I'm relieved to hand my daughter over to you. I hope she can come out of the land of 10,000 thunder alive. If you can do that, I'll definitely reward you handsomely. Ji Qing looked at Ling Xiao and said, Of course, Luoyu is my friend. As long as I, Ling Xiao, am alive, I won't let anything happen to her. Ling Xiao nodded. All right, you guys go ahead. I'll go take a look elsewhere. Don't worry about your safety outside. With our Heavenly Dragon Trading Company here, no one can harm a single hair on your head. Ji Qing finished speaking and patted Ji Luoyu's head, then quickly disappeared. Chapter 1818. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. The White Tiger Tempest Gathering was indeed worthy of its name. It had actually attracted so many important figures. Whether it was Medicine King Sunbu or Ji Qing, they usually wouldn't appear in the same place. He didn't expect that all of them would appear today. Of course, apart from these people, any cultivator who thought that they had some strength would come to cheer for the young geniuses of their family or sect. At the same time, it was also a form of protection. I wonder if the Celestial Empire will send people over. Ling Xiao smiled. His group had left their homes and lived under someone else's roof. It was more difficult than anyone else. The Celestial Empire was weak and their cultivation was generally lower. If someone really came, it would probably only be the likes of the Liquor Demon Sword and Hongqi. The others weren't qualified. If they came, they would probably need Ling Xiao's protection. Ling Xiao led his group to a secluded corner and took out a mechanism pavilion. Although the pavilion wasn't big, it was exquisitely designed and had all kinds of facilities. Let's all take a rest first. You can go see your family, but don't go too far. I reckon that after the people from the Silver Fox Empire, White Tiger Empire, and Jinyi School arrive, the White Tiger Tempest Gathering will officially begin. Before the gathering ends, don't act alone. Ling Xiao reminded them, there are all kinds of people here. The situation is very complicated. Even the Heavenly Dragon Trading Company can't guarantee our absolute safety. Understood. Everyone nodded. Lu Lien, Ji Luoyu, Blue Snow, and Hongyu left one after another. As the representative of their family, Qin, who brought a group of people to cheer for Blue Snow and Hongyu. I heard that Prince Charming is dead? Qin, who lowered his voice and asked the two girls. That's right. I killed him. Blue Snow said indifferently. Sure, Blue Snow. Don't say that. The rumors outside say that a person called Ling Xiao killed Prince Charming. The people of Whitetron already know about this. They definitely won't let this matter rest. Qin, who hurriedly made a shushing gesture and said, Ling Xiao is a Ling. The person who killed Prince Charming is indeed me. Blue Snow said indifferently. After experiencing several incidents in Sky Sea City, the relationship between Blue Snow and Ling Xiao had become even better. Even though they weren't very close, Blue Snow really treated Ling Xiao as her brother. What she did was what she did. She would not allow anyone to blame this on Ling Xiao. What? It's actually that brat? What's so great about him? Qin, who was stunned for a moment. Much stronger than you, Uncle Qin, who? Hongyue giggled and said, but the people of Whitetron had better not look for him. Looking for him is like looking for death. My big brother is powerful. Qin, who scratched his head, feeling a little confused. It had only been a few days since they had last seen each other. Why did these two girls seem to have been bewitched? Why did they revere Ling Xiao so much? Humph! I advise you two ignorant girls to stay away from that Ling Xiao. This time, he won't be able to leave the land of infinite thunderbolts alive. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded from the side, startling the three of them. The one who spoke was a man in black. His expression was cold and dark. Sky Demon Cultist? Qin, who saw a very obvious black mark on the man's clothes. That mark was the mark of a Sky Demon Cultist. It's good that you recognize him. The Sky Demon cult won't let Ling Xiao off so easily. Ling Xiao had killed 73 of the Sky Demon cult's prodigies. Given the Sky Demon cult style of doing things, how could they let Ling Xiao off so easily? Ling Xiao's life belongs to the Water God Temple. All of a sudden, another voice rang out. It turned out that the temple master of the Water God Temple, Tianhai Mingyue, had also appeared this time. All the prodigies of the Water God Temple had been killed by Ling Xiao. How could he not take revenge? No, his life belongs to us. The ruler of the White Horse Country, Qin, who felt a headache coming on. Just how many people had this Ling Xiao offended? This time, it would be difficult for him to escape. Should he let Blue Snow and Hongyu continue to follow Ling Xiao? If something really happened, he wouldn't be able to answer to his family. Ha ha ha, serves him right. Ling Xiao is usually so arrogant and egotistical. Serves him right to offend so many people. Serves him right to be targeted. The ones who laughed out loud were from the Sun family of Sky Sea City. Ling Xiao had killed the hope of their Sun family, so they hated Ling Xiao to the bone. If it wasn't for the fact that they didn't have the strength to take revenge, they would have already fought Ling Xiao to the death. Now that so many people wanted Ling Xiao's life, they were naturally overjoyed. Well said. Ling Xiao deserves to die. The people of the Divine Phoenix Empire will also watch him be killed. The ones who appeared this time were actually the people who had escaped from the Divine Phoenix continent to the White Tiger continent. They could be considered as some fellows who were struggling at death's door. Originally, they did not dare to casually appear. But seeing that Ling Xiao had offended so many people, they seemed to have ignited the hope of revenge. As long as everything went smoothly, they absolutely believed that Ling Xiao would definitely die in this Myriad Thunder Extreme Ground. At that time, it could also be considered as their great enmity being avenged. These things were told to Ling Xiao by Blue Snow and Scarlet Moon. Ling Xiao could not help grinning as he said, "They all want me to die, but I'm not going to die. Furthermore, I want to give them a huge surprise and let them all understand that I, Ling Xiao, dare to be arrogant, naturally have a reason to be arrogant. It's just that they probably won't be able to return from here. Towards enemies, Ling Xiao would never be soft-hearted and lenient. It was just that previously he really did not have the time and did not have the mood to go and find these people to give them bad luck. He did not expect that they were actually all gathered together. Since that was the case, then he might as well stew them all together. Not a single one could think about slipping away. Boom! Crack! In the sky, the sound of thunder suddenly sounded out. Lightning seemed to have split open the sky, then landed on the ground. Everyone raised their heads in surprise, one after another. In that sky, several dozen white, fierce tigers with wings on their backs came over together. What a powerful aura! What a frenzied thunder! What terrifying lightning! Everyone felt their hearts involuntarily tremble. These several dozen fierce tigers were actually all able to spit lightning. It was terrifying to the extreme. Especially those 3 fierce tigers at the front. They were even more majestic, as if they were overlords among beasts, making people tremble with fear. Before landing, many people already felt the onslaught of fear. Came the White Tiger Empire, the most powerful empire on the White Tiger continent, has descended. The martial artists who recognized those fierce tigers could not help sucking in a cold breath. The most ancient empire on the White Tiger continent was also the most powerful empire. Only it could sit on equal footing with Jingyi School. The other 3 great empires were slightly weaker. The scene is big enough. Wonder how their strength is. Ling Xiao stood at the window of the pavilion and looked outside. The fierce tigers in the sky landed one after another, their imposing manner grand and overbearing. That fattest one is Big Stomach Tiger Thunder Swallow. Ji Luoyu introduced by the side. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.